Christmas is just days away, and while Santa makes his last-minute preparations at his workshop, a handful of drivers have taken it upon themselves to paint some special cars for one another to get into the festive spirit. Oh, and Adam Buzzio and Scott Fritz are 1v1 in the final round of the BRB bracket brawl, but we'll talk more about that in just a few moments. Welcome to Pit Stop TV, and welcome to the virtual Fontana, California. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with Zachary King alongside this evening, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the BRB Sundance Pro Series. Tonight's coverage from California is brought to you by Sundance Pizza, by the BRB Racing League, and by all series partners, including tonight's presenting partner, TZO Designs. This is going to be a fun one. I say that a lot, but hear me out. California, it's multi-groove. The racing can span across 5-6 different lanes at times, and you carry tons and tons of speed off into these corners. Now, I know these aren't Gen 4 cars or even Gen 6 Cup cars where you could get over 200 miles per hour, but we're still getting up there in speed. These guys are getting into the 190 area in an ARCA car headed off into turns 1 and 3, and that's pretty quick, honestly. That is carrying a lot of speed in a car that typically does not go that fast.
Yeah, what we've seen so far this season is a lot of drafting with these ARCA cars, and this is another place where it's going to be a lot of drafting, a lot of momentum based. You're going to see people running the top side, trying to keep the momentum up off the corners, and getting big runs down the straight to possibly pull out a line and make a run for it. This facility is phenomenal. Multi-groove racing. You can run the top, you can run the bottom, you can run on the apron sometimes in 3 and 4. Phenomenal race to be here tonight.
It's going to be a fun one for sure. We're going to write down 2 things, and of course that's going to bring us to our points standings coming into this evening. After 8 races of 18, this is how things look, and this is taking into account the setup for the chase. 12 drivers will qualify. That's the general theme that has been the theme, that's been the setup ever since we started covering the BRB Sundance Pro Series way back in Season 2 last year. So, top 12 make it. Everybody else will have to be sent home. It's just on points. No win and you're in. We are definitely in chase territory from here to the cutoff race after, I believe, Atlanta. So we are very much talking chase the rest of the regular season at this point. This is how things look. You can see the points that drivers have to the gap or points they need to make up to the cut line. So that said, our first driver we talked to this evening in tonight's MXWraps.com pre-race show will be somebody on the outside looking in. In fact, down in 22nd spot, we wanted to get Zachary Hall, but he's getting home at just the... In fact, he just got home. He just made it into the sim, it looks like. So he was worried about not being able to make it in time. So we won't be talking to Zach. Instead, we're going to go down a couple of spots. Anthony Teseo, he's also the partner, presenting partner for tonight's race, the sponsor, if you will. And he's one of your drivers, Zach. I'm curious what it's going to be like to talk to him here this evening, especially to get his perspective on where his season has taken him so far. Of course, 22nd of the points, just under 60 points out. He's in the hunt, I'd say, but he definitely needs to turn things around here this evening at California. Let's get down into the sim and dial up driver 15, who has had a pretty decent start, I think, to his BRB Sundance Pro Series career. Anthony, you've got a couple of top 10s here in your rookie season. You're only 57 points out. I know that's a decently large number. You want it to be lower, but frankly, you're in the hunt. And especially if things turn around here in California tonight, we could be looking at a whole different picture in 2026 when we get even closer to the chase. So what's your game plan here tonight to go ahead and take advantage of the fact that you are still in the hunt for the chase?
Yeah, so my goal tonight is just kind of keep my position. I don't want to have to be out there leading. I don't want to be at the back of the pack in the chaos. I just kind of want to keep my position, stay near the front, hopefully get a good call time. But yeah.
Teseo, two top 10s as a rookie, had some rough races so far this season with a couple DNFs. But what is it going to take to keep your car clean and stay out of trouble?
Yeah, it's been a interesting start to the season in my first season here. It's been a little bit getting used to driving around these guys and learning how everyone likes to drive. I'm getting through those growing pains, and hopefully I can start being a little more consistent and stay out of the mess.
And of course, the practice race last night definitely seemed like there could be some big runs, just like at Pocono last week, Chicago the week before. So How are you going to manage that? You know, lifting in time to not run into somebody, but also taking advantage of those runs to make moves and work through this field. What's that like, and is it a comfortable balance, or is it a little bit tricky to get the hang of?
It's a bit tricky at some tracks. At this track, I feel like there's just so many options of where you can run. It might be a little easier to manage that. So I don't have to worry as much about going too deep into a corner and then running up into someone. I just got to make sure that I'm not going to come out and exit into the side of someone. Just stay a little low, know my place, don't try to make any stupid passes, and go from there.
And hey, of course, this is the MXWraps.com pre-race show, but TZO Designs, what do you do over there? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I do a couple leagues now. I've been making paints for some of my buddies and my teammates. So I decided to kind of put something together and put my logo on the paints I make. So it's just been something that I'm kind of growing and seeing if I can get some more people.
Hey, good to chat with you this evening. Best of luck.
No problem. Thank you again for all you do.
Anthony DeSeo ready to go racing this evening at California. How about, though, into this bracket conversation, Zach? Of course, we've been talking about it now for 5 races straight, including here this evening. So let's take a look at who is left. And I already kind of mentioned it. Adam Buzzio and Scott Fritz both are here tonight. You don't even see them here on this page of the ticker. They have their numbers lit up in blue tonight. Give it a second. There they are, right on top of each other. 2/1000th of a second separate these two guys. 17th and 18th in practice right now. Scott Fritz has got a very festive number 48 that I helped work on, and Adam Buzzio also has his own festive look to his car. He's actually right behind Scott with Zachary Brandvold breaking them up. So these two very close on the racetrack physically. There they are together, but also in terms of pace. It's going to be interesting. We're talking to both of these guys tonight. They are the 2 Bracket Brawl finalists, and they look pretty similar, actually, both with a blue and snowflake and Christmas movie theme. Oh boy, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch these two.
Yeah, both of these guys, I believe, were behind their competitor going into turn 3 at Pocono last week on the final lap. And then obviously you had the incident with Adam and Christian. Adam prevailed, and then the photo finish between Scott and Johnny, and that was phenomenal as well. So this whole scenario with this bracket has brought up a lot of storylines and made stuff really interesting, and it's going to be phenomenal to end it tonight.
Let's get right to it then. Let's talk to these couple of drivers. First up, Adam Buzzio. He's on the track right now, so we'll kind of jump scare him here real quick. Driver number 5 comes into tonight, still looking for that first win here in Season 5. But Adam, you are at the top of the league just about. You're right behind everybody who's got to win, chasing that first W. Can it happen tonight?
I'd like to think so, man. I've had a lot of success at Auto Club. It's one of my favorite tracks, so hopefully we can break the winless streak here and put on a good show. We got the bonus brawl tonight, so gotta beat Fritz at least. That's the goal tonight.
Adam, at one point in the season, you were 31st in points, I believe. Now you're up to 6th. I mean, what is it taking to rally behind your car and rally behind your team and get up there?
Man, those first 2 races of the season, we just, we had bad luck and kind of had to start approaching the races just a little bit differently. Was a big part of it, but just consistency, you know what I mean? Picking the battles, being patient when you need to be, it's a big part of trying to make your way back up. But I'm a little surprised I've made it all the way up to 6th with some of the adversity, but super happy that we're up there and want to just keep chipping away at it.
You've definitely been chipping away at things, and you mentioned the bracket brawl. Well, let's talk about that specifically for a second. You are up against Scott, as we've talked about, and you mentioned you guys are on top of each other on the racetrack right now and on the timing chart. Is that a comforting thought to know that you guys are so close, or is that a little bit scary because now you know you're racing him heads up when the green flag drops?
I don't know. Honestly, that's a really good question. Fritz and I race around each other quite a bit. I mean, we're usually both up there in the top 5 or so. I'm not surprised that he's quick. I mean, he's number 1 in points for a reason, you know what I mean? So I knew going into it that it was going to be kind of a tall order to come out ahead of him, but I know week in, week out, I think we contend with him pretty well. He's definitely had better luck than me this season. But I think it'll be a good show either way. I think the 2 of us will put on a good, clean fight and may the best man win.
There you go, Adam Buzzio, ready to go head-to-head with Scott Fritz, separated by 2/1000ths of a second. Adam, best of luck.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Adam Buzzio, driver at number 5 here in season number 5, looking for that win. We'll see if it happens here tonight. Really, though, I think his big focus is just trying to beat that guy who is inside right now, Scott Fritz, trying to get ahead of him by the end of this race here tonight. And Zach, I know Scott was a little bit late making it into Discord. Do we see him yet? I don't think we see him yet, actually.
Yeah, I don't see him.
So we'll keep an eye on whether or not Scott Fritz is able to make it into the Discord channel here tonight, but we'll bring up his graphic at the very least for just a moment anyways, and see if I can ping him really quick. But there you go. He's got the 1 win, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and this is a good segue actually into our power rankings, I feel like, because he's leading the power rankings for the 2nd week in a row, and his total has gone up significantly, 63.4 now on the score out of 100. I mean, everybody was below 50 very recently, or right around 50. For him to now be over 60 and getting close to 65, even 70, that's, I think, pretty telling of just how good he's been this season.
Yeah, Scott Fritz, like I said multiple times before, it was middle of last season, he like flipped a switch, and he was a perennial fighter for the lead and for win. Obviously wasn't able to break through last season, able to break through this season for his first career win, but he has just been on top of the game lately, and if anybody's got anything to stop for him, it's got to be anybody in the top 5 of the power rankings. Get Dustin, Brendan, Johnny, Adam. I mean, any 5 of them can come out here week in, week out and win a race, and that's simple as that. But Scott Fritz has been a phenomenal driver this season. I want to see him get his first championship. Obviously, he's running solo right now with no Matthew Selby, but it would be so awesome to see Scott Fritz win the bracket brawl and then continue that momentum into the chase.
It definitely would be cool to see him kind of take on the bigger teams. And I know teams are a little bit less important in sim racing in this regard because everybody's got, the same equipment realistically. Yes, we talk about, the Chevy versus the Ford versus the Toyota, but when you boil it down, iRacing has made them all perform the same. So you have the same equipment, you're just going out there, it's driver versus driver in this case because we're also racing in fixed setup. So it's interesting, I think, just to see how it all boils down and where these guys find advantages and don't. But in the scope of the team thing, right, he is alone. He's got really nobody to bounce anything off of. So it's going to be interesting to see how he works that, and especially when we get to those drafting tracks later this season, how he's able to manage those. So if he's truly going to make a run for this championship, it will, of course, go through Atlanta in the regular season and then Talladega in the chase, and those will be important races, I feel. But while we await Scott to hopefully join for a pre-race interview, we can go on with the rest of our MXWraps.com pre-race show, and that would take us to the Best in Show vote. You think we're ready for that? Do you have a couple of paint schemes picked out?
Let's go for it, Andrew. Oh, wait, I think Scott might be here.
Oh, well, yes, just in time. We'll go ahead and bring him in. He brings the car to a screeching halt on the inside of turn number 2, but we do have a Scott Fritz this evening. Driver 48, you've got to win now back at North Wilkesboro. So you finally got that monkey off your back, Scott. I mean, it seems like things are trending your direction lately. You're leading the points, leading the power rankings. What is it like to be looking down on all of these drivers throughout the league, knowing that you're kind of the top dog right now?
Yeah, we've been pretty consistent lately. Pocono, we up front leading laps last week, then didn't quite get the finish we wanted. But other than that, we still extended the point lead, so we've been pretty consistent. And, just need to keep plugging away and try and win the regular season championship to get those bonus points for the playoffs.
Scott, I mean, I've said it time and time again. You have been the top dog this season. You broke in, got your first career win. I mean, this season's just been a whirlwind up here in the booth. I mean, what has it been through down there?
It's been relatively smooth for the most part. Kind of pretty much stayed out of trouble this year and this season, and I've just been trying to be consistent, stay up front, qualifying a lot better, and so far so good.
Of course, we've talked multiple times this season, at different points of the season, about this difference in car, and it's going to come back up, I think, even a couple more times before the season's over. But now that we've got a good half season of racing, pretty much, with these drivers in this car, how are we feeling about it from your perspective? How do you feel about this race car for this league? Success, or maybe still looking for the right one?
I like this car. Personally, I think the Xfinity car is the best car, but I like this car. It's a lot freer. It's not on the right front. It's on the right rear, and I just personally like the Xfinity car a little better. Just it spreads out a little more, especially at places like this. The ARCA car this is almost like a running at Daytona for the kind of until you really get laps on the tires. And with the smaller fuel tank, we don't quite get enough laps on the tires to really spread out. So, but other than that, I really like this car. It's definitely helped the racing a lot, and hopefully it just keeps getting better.
And for a dirt racer, this place is wide open. You can run anywhere on this racetrack, just depending on how you want to run the corner. Where do you feel the best here at California?
Yeah, certainly in short run you're going to want to kind of be in the bottom, but I really like being right up on the wall here. Especially with this car, I was really good in the Gen 6 car, just almost right rear, dragging the wall all the way around this place, especially on the long run. And so we'll probably end up there at some point tonight. And these cars are definitely going to be all over the place. You're going to be packed up, and it's going to be really hard to kind of keep the lead until the tires really wear out. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully we'll be up front at the end.
Hey, it's always good to talk to you, Scott. Congratulations on making it at the top of the field this far into the season. Hopefully we're talking to you a lot more the rest of the season.
All right, thank you.
That is Scott Fritz, driver 48, as he gets ready to go at it for not only the points lead, and I think we kind of hammered that home pretty well, but also he is against Adam Buzzio in this bracket. We didn't even ask him a question about that, Zach, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how that battle progresses. Scott has dropped down the order, actually, in practice, and Adam is now 13th in the practice chart, so big difference now. Adam moving forward, and Scott is kind of stagnated as other drivers get a little bit faster here throughout the course of this session. We can take a quick look before we go and do the best in show vote. We can take a quick look at the Cody Williams Design race weather conditions, because I think this matters in the scope of these practice times getting faster now. Is 75-degree track temp. It's just barely over the ambient temperature. Clear skies, but it is nighttime out there. And if we look at the date and time here in the sim, it's simulated to be May 15th, 10:41 p.m. Middle of the night. I think these temperatures are still pretty close to what we could see in Southern California, Fontana specifically this time of year. Maybe a little warm, frankly. Maybe a little warm, but I think maybe you would expect, 60s, low 60s, but you can't get that low in iRacing. So I think this is okay. It's a relatively cool racetrack. There's a lot of grip out there. It should make for a good race, I think, as the night goes on. But without further ado, Mr. Zach King, best in show, who you got?
We're going to go with Gray Walker this week in the 18 Red Bull car for Accelerate. I don't know, there's a lot going on with it, but as you can tell, I really like when a lot's going on with it.
That's definitely a lot going on. That is a winter Red Bull paint scheme if I've ever seen one. That is pretty cool. A lot of these guys have very dark paint schemes tonight, I think, going for kind of the matte look and trying to work with the spec map a little bit. I think these guys have made them a little bit too dark in some cases, but that's okay. The iRacing lighting engine is always a work in progress, and there we go. It's a little better now that it's in some more consistent light off of pit road. That is definitely a wild paint scheme to try and figure out. But I like it. I like how crazy that one is, and it's got the winter edition and everything, which is a great flavor, by the way. I'm still partial to my Rockstar, but that's pretty good. Who you got for number 2?
I'm gonna defer this one. I'm gonna let you go second.
Oh my
and
goodness!
What you got. We're in the Christmas spirit, all right?
In that case, I'm going to look around. I've gotten a pretty good look already at some of these winter paint schemes, but I want to look around anyways, and I want to give a good nod as well here to Dakota Bly. This is a Mamba Kobe Bryant paint scheme with the body armor flavor there on the side of the car, which is a great flavor as well. I've tried it. It's good. I'm not going to choose him. It's the Christmas race, right? More or less. I want to acknowledge it's a great paint scheme, but it's not festive. So I'm gonna keep on looking. I know Carl Pooler has got one that Brendan Maddox worked on literally today. A Die Hard paint scheme. I know some people love that movie. Hey man, it's before my time. I never really watched it. I will say Gavin Rogers has a great Christmas paint scheme. I might come back to him. But all of this to say, I am going to go up here and I'm going to nominate my own driver. But you know what? It's not my own paint scheme. It's not even an MX Draft paint scheme. Scott Fritz put this one together for Josh Perrin, and this is a pretty solid paint. I know it's in the dark right now, but when we get it in the lights later, I think it'll really shine.
Yeah, when I saw that paint scheme this morning, I was shocked because I was like, oh, okay, Scott's got something cooking over there. But yeah, that car was phenomenal. I've seen it in the day and then in the night. It looked phenomenal, up and down. But if you want to go next, or do you want me to go next, or how do you want to do this?
You put me on the spot, so now you're back on the spot.
Well, before I saw Gray Walker's team, my two picks were going to be Adam Buzzio and Scott Fritz. But I think I'm going to go with Adam. I like the metallic blue coming off of the car. I really like when that's popping off the car. You can see like the car looks like it's a chrome blue. Looks like a color chrome finish on a die cast. I like that 5 car a lot.
This is a pretty good one, I gotta say. It's got a mix of Christmas movies, Elf on the hood, and the back end. It's got the original Grinch there on the side, Peanuts, Frosty the Snowman, which I know my son would be all over. Yeah, it's got a really good mix, and he nailed the spec map. This is what you want out of a Christmas paint scheme spec map. So Adam nailed that really, really well. I will say I selfishly want to put Scott Fritz on there. I want to tell a brief story about this car because this initially started late last night as a concept for Brendan Maddox. There was a miscommunication in who was doing Brendan's paint scheme because there was a Secret Santa whole thing within the league this week. But it ended up not being for the 23, and it was going to be unused until Scott ended up not having a paint scheme. Something happened. I'm not really sure of the situation with his Secret Santa, but he wasn't going to have a Christmas paint scheme, so we repurposed the original design I had going, and here it is. And I wanted to do more with it, but then it sat on my computer for hours as just a file, so it didn't really get added to. So it's the idea of what it could have been, and I think it's cool. I'm not going to nominate it, though. I think that'd be a little bit too selfish. I know. I think that'd be a little bit too selfish. So what I think I want to do is I'm looking around, trying to remember everybody's paint schemes out there. I think I'm going to have to go Gavin Rogers. This is also really well done. I gotta recognize game here. Gavin really knocked this one out of the park.
I saw him making this game last night. I believe he was up to like 2 a.m. I want to say making this game in the Discord, and he put that car together really nice. And that car is phenomenal. I just like how all the metallic is coming out and like the color. It looks like a color chrome with a die cast. It looks phenomenal with all these new metallic paint.
It does look really, really good. There's a couple of other Christmas paint schemes out there. This is one that I'm not really sure what happened. Maybe another miscommunication, but Cole Lewis ended up having 2 paints made for him, and this ended up looking really good too. I will say I think I prefer the left side of the car personally. It's really good. The right side is great too. I think I personally prefer the left side. A full car with that left side I think would look really, really nice as kind of a farmer flannel John Deere thing going on. And then as well, the 23 of Brendan Maddox, whenever he hits the racetrack, he has got, now I'm not one for horror movies, but he has got a Christmas, a Krampus paint scheme. So anyways, to recap your options here, you have got the 5 of Adam Buzzio. He's an option. How about the 18 of Gray Walker? Let me find and select him really quick as qualifying opens up. There's 18, and I'll try to find him on the racetrack as well. I don't think, yeah, he is up there. There he is. There's Gray. Then you've also got the 22 of Josh Perrin, and it's to my understanding as well that I believe his significant other, Lex, out there is celebrating a birthday, so happy birthday to her. But also, you've got the 77 of Gavin Rogers on that list. We'll try and find him really quick. There he is. So some really good looking paint schemes out there. There's a bunch of fantastic ones. It's hard to narrow it down, but these are the 4 we've got. And here we go. Qualifying is fully underway.
Cameron Carter to the top of the charts on the first lap. How about that?
Good to see that for a driver that has a big event coming up. That'll be the Carol Kenneth Carden Memorial Race. It'll be the 3rd running in January. Adam Buzzio knocks him down, and Teseo now goes 2nd. Borbell 3rd. Brandvold to the top, but we'll be talking more about that Cameron Carden situation very, very soon. Here's Zach Brandvold. He has not made many of these races this season. Here he is, though, going for pole.
Yeah, Brandwood had had issues with attendance lately, but he is phenomenal. He's been a top driver. He was phenomenal last season in the chase. Really put his name out there, and I would not expect him. I'd expect him to see him in victory lane this season.
There you go. There's Carl Pooler, position number 2 so far in qualifying. Johnny Wood Jr. goes 3rd. Stephen Borbell jumps up to the 3rd spot. He knocks Johnny down a spot. Of course, Stephen coming off of that win at Pocono last week. How about Zach Brandvold to 5th, Coulter Clark into 6th. He's also got a pretty cool paint scheme going on that we'll talk about in a little bit. Zach Maddox, oh, I forgot, he's got a good one too. Again, this is part of the Secret Santa thing going on, and there's Brennan Maddox with that Secret Santa Krampus paint scheme. I'm not one for that movie personally, but I respect it. Everybody likes what they like, and that's a pretty cool kind of flannel look. And Josh Parent up to 2nd in qualifying here. Brendan follows suit, the 22 and 23, 2nd and 3rd.
Josh Parent, I think it was the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's been on top of the game. He has been up front. I believe he's been leading a lot of these races late. He's been in really good position to get really good finishes, and I think he's going to be one that's going to be breaking through next for their first career win here shortly.
Now, of course, the drivers that have currently qualified on row number 2, well, now it changes. Jordan White knocks him down. He goes 3rd, but Brendan Maddox and Carl Pooler, for a moment, shared that 2nd row. They will be starting from the rear of the field tonight. An EOL from an incident out of turn 2 last week at Pocono that went unclaimed. It was deemed a racing incident. They will both be bearing the brunt of that. As Scott Fritz jumps up to 6th, that will be well ahead of Adam Buzzio on the qualifying chart in that bracket brawl matchup. And here's Tim Henderson. He's going to be the final driver to set any kind of time. Bottoms, Dyer, Moyer, Hall, all will go timeless here in qualifying. Henderson actually won't get one in. He's not going to have enough time. He has not started a lap yet. Here he goes to start lap 1. So he will not put a time down tonight. We'll have 5 drivers in the back of the field of 30 that have no time in qualifying. Well, that about takes you through tonight's MXWraps.com pre-race show. Make sure to vote for today's Best in Show vote. Of course, brought to you by MX Wraps. And that will carry us through qualifying into the race session. So, it's about that time for the Lucky Performance starting grid. And I want to take a look briefly at the race weather one more time. Brought to you by Cody Williams Design. 71.8 degrees ambient. The temp has come down a little bit, and look at the date and time. It's a little bit later in the sim. Not much of a change, though. I think we might see... I mean, everybody knows, right? It cools down a little more over the course of the night. So we might see these temps come down a little more, Zach, and maybe grip up slightly more towards the end. But it should be a pretty grippy race overall out there for these drivers as they get ready to go racing for 125 laps, all chasing drivers 69 at the front end of the grid. Let's go down through your starting grid. Mason Houseman on pole. The first driver here that's full-time this season is going to be Josh Parent. He will join the field in position number 2 on the grid, just ahead of Jordan White, who qualifies 3rd. Brennan Maddox will go to the rear. Carl Pooler will go to the rear, but Scott Fritz will start I guess, in what will become the 4th position, but qualifying back in 7th and 8th, you'll find Stephen Borbell and Johnny Wood Jr., followed up by Zach Brandvold and Coulter Clark.
Rolling off in road number 6 will be Zachary Maddox, and alongside him will be Christian Barnes. Back in road number 7 will be Richard Wolfer, and racing for the bracket ball, Adam Buzzio. Back in 15th and 16th is Caden Perkin and Anthony DeTheo. Behind them will be Cameron Carden and Gray Walker. After them will be Kyle Clank, and surprisingly, not a great qualifying performance for the 77 of Gavin Rogers.
Give it time. I'm sure he'll be in the running very, very soon here tonight. William Maple Jr. matches his car number. He'll roll off 21st. Cole Lewis from 22nd. Evan Patinko, down low on the starting grid, 23rd. Not where he wants to be, but he's got time to work on that. Dan Stockero, 24th. How about Dakota Bly, the final car to take a time? He'll start 25th. Zach Hall, 26th, followed by Tim Henderson, Sam Dyer, Robert Moyer Jr., and Jason Bottoms in our 30-car field. I want to circle back to one thing briefly, and that is going to be the power rankings that we looked at a little bit ago. We didn't mention the 2 drivers that are newly on this list, one of them for the first time ever, the other for the first time in a couple of weeks. Carl Pooler is on here for the first time in a couple of weeks. He's been on it before. He made it back into the top 10 after Pocono last week. And Josh Parent, by the way, after a 3rd place finish last week at Pocono, he is now on the power rankings for the first time ever. So that Whiplash Racing driver has things working in his favor as of late. Quick look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details, and you can see this is a 125-lap race, 250 miles. We do have that 2-hour time limit that we saw used last week. Stages, well, just the one at the end of lap 35, then 90 to the end. The rest is the same as usual. Want to take a quick look as well at a brand new string of cameras that we want to talk about. We've got the Digger Cam. Drivers have been asking for this. Figured we may as well oblige. We even got ourselves a little avatar for it. Yes, we have our own Digger debuting this evening. Not sure how long he'll stick around, but wanted to get some use out of it. It's been a buzzword lately out there. So let's go ahead and watch the start of this race. The TZO Designs 250 at Auto Club from the Digger Cam here at California. Here we go, green flag. Onto the bumpy, worn out back straightaway here at Auto Club Speedway. You can see them go bounding over these bumps into turn 3, trying to find their place here. You can go all over the racetrack down in turns 3 and 4, just like 1 and 2. Any lane you want, just pick one.
This Digger Cam is amazing. Oh my goodness, these cars are bumping up and down on the back straightaway. Do the start finish line for the first time. Mason Houseman leads with Joshua Parent behind him. Top 6 is single filed out. Top 7, top 10 bout have single filed out. Scott Fritz looking on the outside of Joshua Parent, trying to go side by side through turns 1 and 2.
Fritz and Parent side by side. Fritz with the run. Parent falls back. Johnny Wood slides into 4th. And Scott Fritz is making a very early charge here for the front of the field. He, of course, fell down a little bit in practice, but when qualifying came around, he was on his game. Lap 2, he's in position 2 and chasing the race leader.
That's the fastest lap right there. He's hauling in that 48 car.
Definitely making good work of a very solid starting position down the back straightaway. Everybody fans out and comes back together out of the corner. Adam Buzzio is up to the 11th spot, so he is making decent work so far, but he's still got a ways to go as Jordan White about grazes the outside wall into turn 3. Buzzio is going to follow Zach Maddox down low, who gets a run underneath Christian Barnes. Man, these guys are all over the racetrack.
This is what we expect when we come to Auto Club. We expect to see multi-group racing, guys using the top side, using the bottom, trying to make runs up. But it's what we're going to see in this car, especially with all the drafting that you can see. Nobody's going to be able to pull away. It's going to be a lot of pack racing tonight.
if we get some longer green flag runs, I think we will eventually see these guys spread out. But here we go for the race lead. Scott Fritz to the point. Dive bomb there. Almost a slide job from Scott Fritz. He will clear the 69 of Mason Houseman, who just tucks in behind Fritz for now. We might see Mason duck low here into 1, though. For now, just a bump draft here into turn 1. And they stay in line. I think ultimately that's a good thing. Stay in line right now. It's only lap 5. You know, if you get a run, maybe make a pass, you know, whatever, as Buzzio goes way down low. But like, you don't need to flip immediately and go straight for a pass as soon as you get past. Work at it. You know, take some time. Let the race come to you as Buzzio now works on the inside of Richard Wolsifer. This is for position number 7. Jordan White, Zach Maddox, contact to stay off the racetrack. Wow!
Oh, my team heart just almost broke.
That was great heads-up driving, though, from everybody in that situation, including Jourdain. That was really, really good stuff to not have a crash there into turn 1. That could have been really, really bad as things sort out for the moment. Gavin Rogers is all over right now. He was just in the wall at a turn 2.
Started 20th, up to 14th, up 6 spots already, only lap 6. I'd say give him about 14 more laps and he'll be in the lead at this rate.
Working on the outside of Zach Maddox. He's got Caden Perkins directly ahead. Kyle Klenk is there as well, as Cameron Carden cracks into the top 10. This definitely, I think, is going to kind of be an unexpected equalizer of a race, as there's a battle for second sparking up. Parent and Houseman and Wood, I mean, all 3 of these guys going after it. Throw in Borbell, and now Wolsifer, as a 22 is getting freight trained. But I think this racetrack is going to be a great equalizer tonight. I think we're going to see a lot of names up front that we don't usually see as Buzzio continues to work forward. Here he goes on Parent for 7th.
Parent got really tight in turn 2, washed up into Mason Houseman, and now falling back, still falling back with all the momentum as Adam goes by Borbell on the outside up to P6.
Looking to the inside now of Brandvold for 5th, and that quickly is changed up. Borbell pulls back around on the inside lane. And Borbell, of course, is Adam's teammate. So these two are kind of working together, you would think. But as far as the bracket goes, Adam definitely needs to think about himself right now. And at least keep tabs with Scott. Of course, it's still way early. We're only on lap 8. We're in the single digits still. But you want to be close to that 48 and never really let him out of your sights if you're Adam Buzzio. And likewise, if they flip positions, Scott's not going to want to let Adam out of his sights. They've got to stay around one another, I think, all night long for their own sake, as a couple of drivers grind to the outside wall into turn 1, 4 wide. Parent and Buzzio in the middle. They sorted out 3 wide now off the corner.
Wowzers, wowzers, wowzers.
By the way, Zach Murtis not here with us this evening. He is under the weather. Hopefully he's out there watching, but we do wish for him to get well as soon as possible. He traveled out to PRI this past weekend, Performance Racing. I forget the I. But anyways, PRI, it's a big expo event basically in Indianapolis each year within the racing industry, and people do typically pick up at least some kind of cold from it. Everybody's traveling in from all over, so we do hope that he gets well very, very soon and gets back with us here on the broadcast soon as well. Everybody finding their spot here. Buzzio just gets up in front of Perkins. Perkins says, I'm going to go on the outside.
Perkins been phenomenal this season. He's had some issues, but he's also ran up front a lot. Sat on pole a couple times this season, but he's looking phenomenal today. But still, Scott Fritz leading the way at the field, trying to break the draft on the front straightaway. As you see Kyle Klink now looking for P5, and he's going to be able to get it momentarily. Gets to the inside of Richard Wolfsford, side by side, almost 3 wide again. Not going to be able to get there to Johnny, but still side by side with Richard as they race out for turn 2.
Meanwhile, Josh Parent has slid all the way back to 10th position with Christian Barnes and Gavin Rogers off his tailpipes. So things are changing big time around the whole front end of the field. These guys are all making some big moves, getting very close to one another, and having some opportunities to really get battling here early. Mason Houseman going after Scott Fritz. Doesn't make a move yet, but he's looking around.
Mason Houseman all over the back bumper of that 48. I don't know if he wants to pass or if he's just trying to maybe save fuel. I know they're really tight on fuel tonight. That's also another thing. I've heard 28 to 30 laps on a tank of fuel, so it could really balance out with the stage 2.
See again the multiple lanes through the corner, a couple of cars down low, a couple of cars through the middle, some cars up top. A lot of great options here at California. One car in the wall, that's Zach Maddox. He gets it back off the wall. Boy, oh boy, what a race so far. We're only 12 laps in, 12 and a half now as we round the back straightaway here. We still have so much racing to go, but what a great start. I think you can tell this racetrack is just completely wide open for these guys to do just about anything they want. They can run literally from the wall to the white line. Buzzio up there at the wall, Clank as well, and they're making headway up there.
Buzzio looking like the real driver, the number 5, like Kyle Larson on the top side. He's hauling on that top side today.
Some fan cam action here. I've been to this racetrack a couple of times before it was decommissioned by NASCAR. Fantastic place to go watch a race. Those views from high up in the stands are, I think, second only to Daytona, realistically. And you can see just how far away they are into turn 3, and then just come rocketing towards you through 3 and 4. And they've come together really close at a turn 4 on the front straight. This is just a really cool racetrack. It really is. And I think between the two-mile D-shaped ovals that we had in NASCAR for so long, between Auto Club and Michigan, this is definitely the better of the two, in my opinion.
Oh man, that's tough. Auto Club, when you think of Auto Club, I just think of the Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Kyle Busch incident back, I believe, 2013 or 2014. That's what I remember when I remember Auto Club, and I remember all the hard racing that was in there. And this track was always so much fun to watch, so much fun to race on, and so much fun to race on in the sim today still. So, did we get? Is that Digger? Is that a Digger cam?
Kind of. That's a camera we have on our TV static from Whiplash sim cams, and it's cool to have. It throws it in there. We can go ahead and break the Digger out though. Give it 1 second. Still working on the animation part. We'll see if we can nail that down before we come back after the winter break, but cool to have an avatar at the very least. Give you some of that nostalgia from like 2008, 2009.
Oh yeah, we definitely need him to come up and then hide back down when the cars come by. That'd be so cool. Just like the real Fox 8.
Back up out of turn 4. Richard Walsifer has quietly moved forward into 3rd, and he's following his teammate Johnny Wood Jr., who's moved into 2nd. These two have been sneaky good recently. I don't know what's going on at 6.5. They haven't really had Jimmy Port on the racetrack much. He did race at Pocono, but was involved in that big turn 2 crash. But Johnny and Richard have slowly just been moving up more and more. And here we go for the race lead. Johnny Wood Jr. to the inside of Scott Fritz.
Johnny Wood and Scott Fritz finished side by side in a photo finish to the last spot in the bracket brawl. But Johnny Wood gets the better of Scott Fritz here off of turn 4, but Johnny blocked Fritz to the bottom.
Great heads-up racing. You see Richard give his teammate a shove into turn 1. Mason Houseman just behind, and look at Adam Buzzio. He's in the conversation, that metallic blue number 5. He is moving forward as these guys race off of turn number 2. Walsifer has fallen back. A lot of ebbing and flowing. And as we get closer to the end of the stage, look at who's even up here. Down low, Patinko races up here towards the top 10. He's now 13th spot. But as we get closer and closer to the end of this stage, these guys will have to pit. But you can tell they have got to be on their A game. These positions are going to matter for the guys trying to make it into the chase. Stage points are everything at this point in the season.
And do not be surprised if he's the 6.5 cars of the 75 of Johnny Wood Jr. and the 56 of Richard Walsifer. Come down pit road early and maybe split the stage in half. We're about at that halfway point. A little bit short on fuel. About, I believe they have like 10 to maybe 10 to 12 laps left in the tank, but I do not the 75 and 36 hit pit road early.
For the bracket now, Adam Buzzio on the back end of Scott Fritz. I don't want to hype this up too much too early, but this is cool to see. They've now found one another. They started pretty far apart. Scott got the lead pretty quickly, and now they are nose to tail as Adam Buzzio takes a look up at Scott Fritz down into turn number 1. He will lay back here this lap, but give it some time. I know these guys are, still racing for 106 more laps, but they've got it in their minds. I think Adam more so than Scott even is probably thinking about it. I'm sure Scott is too, but these guys are going to be around each other, I think, all night long.
That's what's been so great about this bracket, bro. You don't think that Scott Fritz and Adam Buzzio are really always next to each other, but it seems like lately, with us focusing on them, they're right neck and neck with each other here.
See, we have a couple of groups on the racetrack. I'd say 3 really, as there's a couple of stragglers back here in Coulter Clark and Dan Stockero. Wait for them to come across the stripe. There they are. Well behind the race leaders, some 11, 12 seconds back. Not really sure what's going on for these two, but they are sitting back right now and kind of waiting on the race to come their direction. Meanwhile, you've got William Maple Jr., Zach Hall, Cameron Carden, Anthony Teseo, Gray Walker, a lot of these guys back here in this kind of secondary group. That would also include, let's see, Cole Lewis, Sam Dyer, Dakota Bly. So a handful of these guys sitting back here as the leaders go after it one more time. Turn 1, it's Johnny Wood Jr., Mason Houseman, Scott Fritz, Zach Brandvold. A lot of the same names just moving around.
To the top 11, single filed out, starting to just ride around here, getting really late on this run, on this seal run. Johnny Wood's holding on strong though. He's been phenomenal. This top 3 have just been phenomenal all season long. It's always awesome to watch all 3 of them battle it out.
Getting closer and closer to the end of stage number 1. Remember, that'll be at the end of lap 35. The cutoff right now for that stage point position would be between Josh Parent and Gavin Rogers, 10th and 11th. And these guys will be aware of that as we get down to the end of this stage. Now, I doubt that Gavin's going to cut Josh a break, but Josh is going to be hoping for it. Because if they are in this position on lap 35, of course, Gavin could get up there and take that point away from Josh. Now things change as Clank falls back. It'll save Josh Parent a little bit for now as Dakota Bly has just hit the pit lane. So he's kind of the first to do so. Let's see, he went for what seems to be either a 2-tire stop or just kind of half fuel. I would think probably just fuel, actually. I don't think he's going to take tires this early. Only 4 sets in the pit lane. I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't see Dakota taking tires this early into a race. Maybe he wanted to fill it all the way up, but you never know what their strategies are.
But, we can go back and double check that he did not take tires. So here he is into the pit lane. Again, really cool looking Mamba, honorary paint scheme to Kobe Bryant, everything that Kobe did in his career. But yeah, no tires there for Dakota Bly, just in and out with fuel to get that car ready to go for the back end here of stage number 1. At the front, things are still very, very tight. Johnny Wood, Mason Houseman, Scott Fritz, and everybody else. 10 laps to go in stage 1.
Jason Bottoms exiting pit road as you saw there a little bit. I see here comes more guys on pit road. Cameron Carden.
Cameron Carden hit the pit lane. How about Coulter Clark hitting the pit lane? He's got kind of a mixture of Sundance Pizza and a white Red Bull paint scheme on that car. I do like it. It's pretty cool. A decent nod to both Sundance Pizza, a fantastic partner of the Sundance Pro Series and as well
Leaders.
to Red Bull. Anyways, that completely threw me off. I'm trying to get Johnny Wood, but it will not let me select him. Here we go. Cars headed down the pit lane. I promise, for a solid 10 seconds, it felt like I was trying to select Johnny Wood, but it just would not click. As here we go. Johnny Wood Jr., Adam Buzzy, Richard Wolsifer, Christian Barnes, Evan Patinko all pit. And they also bring in William Maple. So we are due to see... Oh, Wolsifer! Oh, he might have just made it in, but that was a really cattywampus pit entry. Here we go. Who else pits? Scott Fritz, Mason Hausman, Zach Brandvold, and Hausman really aggressive here on pit entry.
Oh!
He passes Fritz into the pit lane. That's big.
Wow.
That brings Brandvold, Klink, Maddox, White, Hall, and Moyer. That leaves Borbell, Parent, Perkins, Rogers, Henderson, Pooler, and Brendan Maddox on the racetrack.
Sounds like over the radio the leaders are coming this time.
So watch the 2 and 22 to pit here. And they will do exactly that. Whoa, Caden Perkins, watch out. Of course, you don't know how much these guys actually practiced pit entry here at Speed. As Wolsifer is back in, serving a penalty.
No way.
Remember, only about 7 laps to go, by the way, in that Best in Show contest. Currently, it's a two-way tie between Gray Walker and Josh Parent. So if it comes down to it, we will award that to whoever is higher up on the racetrack. Is wow, Carl Pooler threw that car sideways on entry to his pit box. Borbell very quickly down and away. The rest will follow, very quick stops. So if you're watching over on YouTube, you've still got time to vote for the MX Drafts Best in Show contest, as Borbell is your leader for now. Parent, Pooler, Fritz, and others trying to take that spot away. Who's going to get it? Here comes Scott Fritz.
Borbell trying to close the door, not going to be able to do it. Scott Fritz flings by the outside.
Hausman follows. So there's your top 3. Fritz, Hausman, and Borbell. Parent now in the 4th spot. Maddox, Zach Maddox in 5th. How about that?
It just seemed like since the Thanksgiving break, a lot of guys have flipped the switch and have changed their season around. A lot of guys deactivated the switch and started to fall back, but it's so nice to see Zach Maddox running inside the top 5 again this week, and Josh Parent running inside the top 5. It's phenomenal to see some of these guys that we didn't really focus on early in the season. They're starting to flip the switch and start to get back up there in the running order.
Certainly in the case of Josh, and I'd say even for Zach as well, they've had the pace, they've had the ability this season. That's been apparent, but no pun intended. It's been luck. It has really just been down to luck for the 14 and 22 and several others in this field. As far as why they have not been finishing well, is Christian Barnes seems to have a problem. He's out of the session, it looks like. So unsure what's going on with Christian. Of course, that is one of Zach King's drivers. So, Zach, I'll let you kind of figure out what's going on there, but that is worth keeping an eye on, as Richard Wolsifer is about to go a 2nd lap down. He had to come back in for a pit penalty. Unsure if it was speeding on entry or exit. Likely on exit, I would think, if he had to come back down pit lane. So that is big, big, big for Richard Wolsifer as you watch your top 4 here. Josh Parent going for a move here on Stephen Borbell, last week's winner, as they sail it off down to turn number 1. And the 2 and 22 continue to race with Adam Buzzio working to try and catch up. Some moves there as Maverick Motorsports, 3 of them in a row, take a stab there at Buzzio. You know who's not here tonight is Dustin Stallings. I was informed somewhere around like 5 or 6 o'clock he might not be able to make this race. I'm not sure what's going on for Dustin. Hopefully everything's okay. But Maverick is still showing out really nicely even in his absence, as things are changing in the top 4. Hausman has fallen back, Borbell to 2nd, Parent to 3rd, but Fritz is starting to drive away with this lead.
They just gotta work. If they can work together, they can catch up to him, bump draft each other up there. Fritz trying to break the draft down the back straightaway.
Looking like Pocono last week. We posted on Facebook earlier today the weekly Who You Got post, and it was between the two bracket drivers, Fritz and Buzzio, versus the field. And in that photo that we used of Scott Fritz, you could see him all the way down snaking at Pocono last week. He was one of those drivers breaking the draft, trying to follow the draft, everything else. You don't see that terribly often on iRacing, but we did see it last week from this driver in particular, doing it again here tonight. But so far it's not working. He's in the fence. Borwell drives underneath. Here comes Parent. He sends it in on Mason Houseman, side by side now for second place. Parent a little bit tight into Houseman. Houseman towards the wall. Oh, watch out.
Fritz went from first to fourth that lap. He's looking like he's gonna try to reverse it. He got two white flag in the stage. Sorry.
Yeah, final lap here in stage number 1. Can Mason Houseman get back to Steven Borbell? He's gonna take a stab at it. He's tight off the corner. Parent now gonna take a look. He gets down there. He's gonna have draft from Borbell. Borbell now moves up. That breaks the draft for the 22. I think Borbell's got this in the bag, but who's gonna get second? Gonna be close off the final corner. Steven Borbell from the win at Pocono a week ago to the stage win to open things up at California. Parent not close enough. Stage 1 complete here at Auto Club Speedway, and it will go to driver number 2. That's pretty large. That's big.
Borbell from victory lane last week to stage winner this week. He's been on it. He's on his game.
We go back to the power rankings. He's been in his top 5, or top 10, I suppose, for a little while now. On the verge of top 5, and frankly, if this run continues tonight, I would think that he would pass at least Adam, if not also Johnny or even Dustin. So this could be a big night for Steven Borbell. If he can go back-to-back as well, that would be really huge. We have not seen any back-to-back winners yet this season, and I can't recall the last time we saw one, even in season 4, a season ago. So this could be big. Obviously, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We've still got 90 laps to go, but it's certainly worth noting he is looking really good here this evening. So Steven Borbell wins a caution-free stage number 1. Well,
From a caution-filled finish to a clean and free stage number 1.
And of course, we hope that stays that way. Cautions do breed cautions. Bringing people together could definitely invite some big moves. And one thing I've noticed in my time on iRacing in general, when you have a run like that, Zach, everybody says, "Oh man, I just lost a lot of time." If I'm in the back, 15th or lower, I'm thinking, "Oh man, we just ran all those laps green. I need to get all I can on this restart, so I don't lose all that time again in this next run." So I mean, it's kind of human nature. It's natural. It's something you need to balance, though. I do hope we're able to continue this trend, as it has been a fantastic start to this race this evening. The TZO Designs 250 here at Auto Club Speedway. The entire field comes down pit lane, just a few cars a lap down. Those are Stockera, Wolsifer, and Bottoms. Stockera will get the lucky dog, it looks like. Wolsifer and Bottoms will stay 1 lap down, and Christian Barnes is 7 laps out. Do we know what's going on for him yet?
Yeah, so it sounds like there was a power cord snipped or something with the power at his house, and he will not be returning tonight.
That is huge. That is very unfortunate for a driver as well, trying to make the chase. That is a big deal. So Steven Borbell off the pit lane, just wins the race off, it looks like, over Mason Houseman. How about that for driver number 2? Let's bring this guy in and talk to him. I'm sure he's going to be rather excited. We haven't seen this kind of follow-up to a win yet, I don't think, this season. But let's bring in Stephen Borbell, Stage 1 winner here at California. And that's got to sound pretty good, Stephen, after the race win last week at Pocono. To follow that up with a stage win here, how did you manage that?
Yeah, I guess just based off what I learned last night in the practice race, really just to protect your right side, protect the high side, keep the momentum going, and let others make the mistakes. And you saw Fritz hit the wall up there, I think with 2 to go to the stage, and that was just the opportunity I needed to get by him. So it's been a good run for me.
And, you know, checking back to our power rankings, we've been talking more and more about as time goes on. You've been on this graphic for a while now. I know last season was kind of an asterisk for you and Adam both, but since returning in season 4, you have been on a hot streak, I feel like, getting better and better. You finally got that win last week at Pocono. Where do you go from here? You know, trying to keep this up, how do you approach these next handful of races, especially with this break coming up?
Yeah, I mean, the break's going to be unfortunate just because I feel like I am starting to hit my stride, not just in the car, but just getting in the car every week again and not being up in race control. So I really just think it's just keeping that momentum and just focusing on what I've been doing right these past couple of weeks, and just keep stringing it along, and hopefully it keeps going the rest of the season and we don't hit that lull.
And it seems like it's crazy out there so far. On a scale of 1 to 10,
Yes.
How crazy is it from the driver's seat?
Oh, my knuckles are bright white. It's just holding on to the steering wheel. The bumps on the backstretch are brutal, and then there's some checkups here and there. It's very nerve-wracking.
There you go. The number 2 looking good this evening. Best of luck here as we break into stage number 2.
Appreciate it, Andrew.
Stephen Borbell, a very solid start to the race here this evening. We'll move him back up with Adam Buzzio and William Maple Jr. over at Next Level Racing as they get set, and Gavin Rogers, actually, for that matter, as they get set here for stage number 2. Zach King, how are we feeling? 1 stage down, 1 to go.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a long race for these guys. They're already white knuckling, and we're only 40 laps in, so we got 86 to go. So it's gonna be really nice to watch tonight.
Here we go. Stage 2 begins now. Green flag back in the air. Stephen Borbell brings us back to the green flag. Down the back straightaway, everybody comes back together after fanning out through 1 and 2. Mostly 2 wide, maybe some 3 wide deep in the field, but down to turn 3. Mason Houseman on the back end of that 2 car. 3 wide for 4th. Fritz, Wood, and Perkins. How about Caden Perkins up here in the top 5?
Perkins has had some strong runs this season so far, and with not a lot of cautions, not a lot of incidents, we're seeing the guys that struggled, that have been in a lot of incidents, are at the front, and this is amazing to see. But also, look at the front. Mason Houseman and Stephen Borbell, they've had an issue with, I believe, the last 2 weeks with contact. So, just watch to see if they race each other clean here.
I think they will. It mostly goes back to that late race restart at Chicagoland a couple of weeks ago, where Mason went for it 3 wide and turned a 2-car around, kind of ended Stephen's day. But since then, Borbell has fired back with a win last week at Pocono, a stage win here tonight at California. It's looking good to be the 2-car for now. We'll see if that continues as Houseman works in the back bumper of Stephen Borbell here on lap 42. I do want to circle back to the Best in Show contest. The driver who won it is headed down the pit lane right now. I don't know why, but Gray Walker.
Black flag from the pit cycle, I guess.
That is really, really odd, but Gray Walker does win tonight's MXWraps.com Best in Show vote. Pretty cool paint scheme. It's definitely unique. It's definitely in your face. Very Red Bull, and I do like it. It's got a lot of flair. Hopefully we can get a better look at it in the light here soon, but he is still parked here. He must be serving a 40-second hold. He is still parked here. He's feathering the throttle, but yeah, I don't, well, I guess we'll wait. We're this close now anyways. Let's see, is it a 40-second hold? Or is it longer? The field's going to come around turn 4 any time now, and he's still waiting. 43 seconds. There he goes. A long time for Gray Walker. He is now 1, going on 2 laps down. Here's the field. Houseman and Parent side by side.
Oh, what it would do to Joshua Parent's season if he could win tonight and go into the Christmas break, have 2 weeks off to reset, refocus, and come back for the next race. But to win at that, it would be phenomenal. I'd love to hear his reaction on this.
He's got Mason Houseman to worry about right now. Look at this, nose to tail between these two. There's Gray Walker going that 2nd lap down after having to serve that pit penalty. That's going to toss things up here in the top 10. Hopefully he plays nice with these guys. By the way, Adam Buzzio is ahead of Scott Fritz now. Scott started up in the top 3 or 4 on that restart. This is the first time we've seen that bracket battle flip here tonight. Down the backstretch, love these shots around the racetrack. Come flying by 190 miles per hour plus into turn 3. On board, Joshua Parent. Clean racetrack up top. He gets a run here on Stephen Borbell. This is for the race lead. Cautions out. First time tonight for cause. It's going to be Zach Maddox and Coulter Clark. Down in the grass. The bad luck continues for car 14. And Clark has got a good bit of right front damage.
While I have a chance, I do want to add on to another thing with Stephen Borbell. He did win the practice race last night, so I believe that is back-to-back weeks with practice race wins for Stephen Borbell.
No, it was Zach Maddox last week. Remember, he was talking in general about the curse of being able to win the practice race, but nobody being able to follow that up with the actual race win. So Borbell, of course, got the actual race win last week. We'll see if he can follow up and break the curse here tonight, as this is Zach Maddox and Coulter Clark. I mean, they just kind of flat ran into one another. Nothing either one of them really did wrong.
I don't think neither driver is happy with that situation.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine so, but go back and watch this again. When they come down the straightaway, or I guess the front stretch, watch the lanes. I'd say Coulter comes up more. They were both moving there. I mean, they were just kind of bobbling around, trying to find a spot that worked for them. Zach, I think, trying to follow the car ahead. Coulter trying to side draft. That's going to be tough for race control to make a definitive ruling on.
Well, race control has already made a ruling. They're giving the penalty to the 54 Coulter Clark. But I would really, if we can, get a onboard shot of the 15 from Teseo's view and watch how that all unfolds.
Maybe actually from the 31 of Clank. He seems to have a better view. So watch this. Maddox starts out a little bit lower. He moves up, then kind of moves back down. That's a toss-up, really. I could see a case for either driver in that case, I feel like. In that situation, I really think you could put it on either, and I mean, it's unfortunate for both. I think it's fair to say, though, Coulter probably moved more than Zach, but they both moved. It's tough.
Richard Wolfsburg gets the lucky dog. Stephen Borbell stays out. Everybody else comes down pit road, besides Gray Walker and Jason Bottoms.
There's Borbell. Here's Parent off the pit lane. He leads the charge back onto the racetrack, and everybody just came in for fuel, really. I think that's a good thing to do. I definitely recommend doing so, but I don't think it's a bad call either for Borbell to stay out and maintain that track position, not knowing what the guys behind you are going to do. I don't think that's a bad call. I mean, I think these guys are pretty well good to go with that caution to make this a two-stop race to the end. If we get more cautions, maybe it changes it up. Maybe you could try and save a little more fuel, but I think for right now, I don't hate this call for Steven. I definitely like the call better for everybody else, though.
Do you want to hear what Steven said on the radio after he saw everybody pit?
What's that?
He said, "Oh." That was all he said. Oh, but it was like that.
Comedic timing.
Like, yeah.
The comedic tone for sure. Well, he will be left on the racetrack again. I don't think it's going to hurt him that bad. It's just a matter of fuel level. If anything, it might help him here in the short run. You'll have a lighter car. Not by a ton, but by just enough to make a slight difference. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I think if we had a few more laps on these tires and on this fuel, maybe then it's a larger deal. But for right now, I think he's going to be okay. Jason Bottoms not yet back on the lead lap. Richard Wolsifer gets the lucky dog, and he will rejoin the field on the lead lap. Coulter Clark will also stay on the lead lap here. So now it's Jason Bottoms 1 lap down and Gray Walker some 2 laps down. And there's a better look at this number 18 for Gray Walker. It has definitely got a lot going on. Want to give a big thank you to our partners with the series. Of course, we've had them all season long. We appreciate them very much. Sundance Pizza, Sundance Trucks, Ideal Lease, KC Athletics, RevSimShop.com, Performance Food Group, Whiplash SimCams, CC's Business, and of course, MXWraps.com. That was our first caution for cause here at California so far. We'll come around to the restart zone. These guys getting a little bit disjointed with Josh Parent sinking back a little bit. But here we go. Restart zone on the way. The iRacing.com safety car heads to the relative safety of pit lane. Green flag back in the air thanks to Barney the flagman. A couple of cars get the wall. Down the backstretch, look at this. Josh Parent going after Stephen Borbell. He's got the nose ahead for a moment. And he's going to dive into turn 3 as the race leader for now. It's heads up between these two for the top spot.
But don't look now. Look who's in 3rd place. Zach Brandvold after a couple weeks off. Almost a month. But look at him. He's up to 3rd.
Borbell leads that lap. Parent still has not led this evening. Look at Carl Pooler in the top 5. The diehard 71 is up here. Caden Perkins up here again. Tim Henderson in the conversation, and for the bracket, Scott Fritz, Adam Buzzio side by side. Fritz will clear to turn 3, but has nowhere to go. They stay together. Fritz checks up. This battle just keeps getting better and better as the laps click on by.
Positions 2nd through 5th have never been to victory lane in the BRB Cup Series or Pro Series. Maybe they break through tonight.
And there are others in the top 10. Henderson, Carden. It was even White for a second. More drivers up here towards the front that have never won a race in this series. Many of them in the chase for this championship right now could really, really use that win. They could all use that win. I think that's fair to say. Caden Perkins slides back. Here comes Tim Henderson. Buzzio has won that fight with Fritz for now. Buzzio gets sailing up to 5th. He's looking up now at the 71 of Pooler alongside the 69 of Houseman. And Buzzio's going to dive here in turn 1. Big send from Adam Buzzio to go right to that white line. Down underneath the 22 of Parent. Big moves out of Adam Buzzio.
That was some.
Another big send out of Buzzio. It does look like he might have taken 2 tires. On the pit timer, he had 10.02 seconds. Are you able to check really quick and see? I mean, he definitely took at least more fuel than everybody else. Did he take 2 tires? He gets freight trained on the outside now by Brandvold, by Pooler, now by Fritz. Here comes Hausman. Carden is up here in the top 10. How about 2 Whiplash racing cars in the top 10 right now? Josh Parent and Cameron Carden. And Evan Patinko is not terrible. Well, he's 21st. He was closer a little bit ago, but...
2 tires was the call for Adam Buzzio.
That would explain the speed he had there for a couple of laps, but it seems like it's already starting to plateau for the car number 5. And he's at the racetrack here to turn 2, really close there to the 55, crashing. Brendan Maddox, not again. No caution. Brendan Maddox smashed into the inside wall. Here comes the replay. We'll keep this quick. Racing with Tim Henderson and Anthony DeSeo. DeSeo was just up there, then Johnny Wood. Oh, Zach Maddox gets a piece, and Brendan Maddox takes a header to the inside wall. I want to follow that brief moment with the 14 of Zach Maddox. That's 2 brothers involved in the same incident here. Brendan down to the inside wall. Zach, I saw him lose his bumper for a moment. I want to see if that came back. It did not. And he's in the pit lane. Oh my goodness, it junked his left front.
No way! No way!
Wow. This happened to Magnus Anderson back at Daytona. That is just... That's the worst. No caution for it. That's the worst.
Brendan Maddox very animated over the driver's radio. Wow, that was huge.
I don't know that anybody did anything wrong there. I mean, it was just guys coming together. Oh boy. Well, Buzzio and Fritz are starting to battle once again for the bracket. Fritz trying to make the pass. Again, I don't know how much it's on their minds right now. We've still got pit stops, certainly. 2 rounds on the way for these guys, but... we'll see how things go.
While things started to mellow out, it sounds like there was actually a fire started inside one of the outlets at Christian Barnes' house, so they had to shut the power down.
Just saw that myself. That is...
yeah.
Really, really scary, actually, for Christian Barnes, but hopefully things can be figured out quickly as Fritz gets to the inside here of Buzzio.
Zach Maddox is out of the race.
And now Fritz gets passed back up by Buzzio and by Pooler. He goes back down to the inside. I love these overhead perspectives. You can kind of see the freight train and the way these lines move around. It's really cool. As Fritz gets a shove here from Mason Hausman to turn number 3. Buzzio going for 3rd.
Buzzio with the 2 tires, everybody else on no tires. This is definitely a strategic call to stay in front of the 48 here. But he's also lost a set of tires. He's lost a set of right side tires, so how's that going to affect him later on in tonight's race?
I'm watching this incident back on my other monitor as these guys get racy for the top spot. I'm just trying to kind of wrap my head around what went on there. Henderson kind of checked up. Maddox was trying to move up in front of Teseo, and they ran out of room. It's going to be interesting to see how drivers feel about that later on. But this battle for 3rd is getting really, really lit up. Orbell leading. Parent, Brandvold, Buzzio, Pooler your top 5. How about Fritz, Hausman, and Perkins just behind. Teseo in the top 10, Kyle Klenk in the top 10.
Adam's got to get to there we go. Adam, I was about to say, Adam needs to get to the top. He's losing a lot of time on the bottom, not having dropped him down the straightaways. Back up to the top. And there it is.
So the international number 5 of Buzzio goes right on by, doing the splits. He checks up though. That's going to bring Scott Fritz back into it. He dives the inside of turn 1, even on Parent. Big send out of Scott Fritz. It's covered up. Parent gets back to his door. But it might at least work for Buzzio. Never mind. Buzzio goes straight on by.
Adam trying to set up the top, and he sets it up again, looking like Kyle Larson running the top side.
Fritz trying to go somewhere. There you see Buzzio on the outside. Really good racing as we hit halfway this lap around the racetrack. 62 complete, 62 and a half. We'll make it halfway. But down the back straightaway this time as Buzzio goes high, wide, and handsome in turns 1 and 2. Here we go, halfway in tonight's TZO Designs 250 at Auto Club Speedway. You see the field still broken up in a couple of different packs. Johnny Wood Jr. towards the back end there. He is down in 24th position. But he is not the final car on the lead lap. That would be Coulter Clark, some 28 seconds behind the race leaders.
And that's just so shocking to me, is to see Coulter Clark that far off. I don't know if it's a pace thing tonight or what, but we just don't expect that out of that 54 car.
It's in the chase coming into tonight. We'll see how that changes as Fritz is down low of 3 wide. Houseman in the middle there, Clank up top. They'll get it sorted. Henderson makes a move. Here comes Gavin Rogers into the conversation.
Fritz is dropping. He is dropping back. But look at Caden Perkins ripping the fence out of turn 4.
Parent grabbed the wall out of the 4th corner. It's a run now on Borbell maybe. Buzzio sits in 3rd. Brandvold 4th. Perkins 5th. Fuller in 6th. Look at this. Underneath the 19 of Perkins. 3 wide. And look at Gavin Rogers way down low. Incredible stuff.
It did not take long for Gavin Rogers to start working his way inside the top 10 now. Lap 65 of 125, almost at halfway. I believe we're a little over halfway.
Yeah, a little past. About 60 laps to go. Yeah, 60 laps to go that time by. So that opens the pit window more or less to stretch. If you want to stretch from here on 2 more stops, you'd make a stop anytime in the next 5 or 10 laps, depending on when you last pitted. And then pit again in about 30 more. I mean, that's kind of the ceiling on what these guys can do to a run, right? So Borbell, of course, will have to pit soonest. Yeah, he'll have to pit the soonest.
Earlier. And that's going to hurt him more, I feel like, because he's not going to have the draft.
Very possibly. But being that he's teammates with Buzzio, yes, Buzzio has more fuel and can theoretically go longer. But Borbell has made it to the window, and he's got some fuel in the tank from saving during that caution, I'm sure. So he can go probably, I'd say, 32 laps. That's about 3 more laps from now, so he can get to about lap 70, and I think that's pretty safe at that point. So if he can get there, Buzzio can get there, they can maybe help each other. Both pit a little bit early together and be on their own strategy. I don't think that'd be a terrible play. I think as a team, that's something for them to consider. I don't know if they'll do that, but that's something they should consider, in my opinion, at the very least, to see if they can help each other out.
And I want to say, I feel like the number, if we're looking at fuel range, fuel windows, Stephen Borbell's actually coming up pit road now, but I was just about to say, I feel like between 70 and 71 sets you up really good, because then you can push on the final run and get 28 laps at each set. But here comes Stephen Borbell to the pit road.
So Borbell gonna pit. This is a couple of laps earlier than I thought he might be able to go. He's going to be really, really close from here to the end. Really close. We'll see how this works out for Stephen Borwell. I'd imagine this is 4 tires and fuel. Does he maybe take 2? I don't know. It's always tricky with this 70% fuel load on what these guys actually want to do. But let's see this for Borwell. Well, of course, right side's going on. I'd imagine lefts as well. Yeah, 4 tires here for Borwell. He'll get back out there. And there's the field. So Josh Parent now leading, sails on by the 2 car. And these 2 are starting to sail away from the rest of the field. Parent and Buzzio nose to tail.
Steven Borwell was able to grab onto the back of, it was the second group draft, so he's got some draft now. Gonna be able to salvage some of that time, but a lot of these guys, Steven Borwell got tires. He's gonna have to try and close this gap, but try to save those tires too at the same time.
Parent way down low here in turn number 1. Buzzio way up high. They'll come back together here off of turn number 2. And Buzzio might have a run. We do still have a ways to go, but we've got to start thinking late game here in this race already. I mean, these guys have knocked off a significant portion of this race already. We're on lap 71. Quickly approaching the final 50.
Andrew, what's your pit call here? If you have to come down, are you taking 4 or are you taking 2? What are you taking here?
Definitely take 4 here, I think. You could. Scott Fritz, problems on the back straightaway, and somebody else, that's Tim Henderson. He's got the biggest problems of all. He's turned around entirely. He gets back going. He has got some major issues with that number 88 car. I think you've got options you could do either way. If you want to do 2 now and 4 later, 4 now and 2 later, you could do either one. But let's see what happened here to Tim Henderson. Remember, he was in that small incident earlier with the 2 Maddoxes, and there, I mean, Fritz was trying to fill the gap, and Henderson tried to close it up a little bit too late, got turned for it. Looks like a string of cars just getting into the outside wall there off the corner. Watch that ahead of Henderson. That's the 88 with yellow rims. I think Clank and Houseman both get the wall. Yep. They check up. And Henderson just tried to close the gap way too late. Wow, Evan Patinko. Oh my goodness.
Down low Patinko.
Yeah, that was really nice work by the 81 to get by that. Let's see that from his perspective. I'm going to go ahead and nominate this Lucky Break of the day. Brought to you by Lucky Performance. I'm going to say this qualifies. This is really, really close. Right on his nose. That's incredible.
I want to see a hood shot of that one. Look how close he got to Scott Fritz's bumper. That could have been bad.
We'll take a look at this, then come back to live picture as pit stops approach. As we near 50 laps to go. Here's one more look at this from Patinko's perspective. Wow. Glad they sorted that out, and Patinko was able to carry on. Patinko now in the top 10. Josh Parent, his teammate, leads this race. Here they go off of turn number 2. Parent leading. Buzzio second, everybody behind. And the field is stringing out. I told you, if we got a long run, we could see it. We're seeing it. A longer run, yes, we have the top 9 or so really packed together. But beyond that, they are pretty well strung apart as Buzzio's pitting. I think? Yeah, he just took a second to actually slow down. A little more aggressive on that pit call. Wolsifer also in. And that'll be Cole Lewis hitting the pit lane.
We are in the window to make it to one more stop.
Cameron Carden just pitted. There's Josh Parent still leading the way here. I don't want to hype this guy up too much just yet. He's our boy over here at Whiplash Racing, along with Evan Patinko and Cameron Carden, but he's had such bad luck all season long, all of last season as well. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but it does feel good to see that 22 out front here tonight, as everybody, it feels like, comes in here. A handful of cars did stay out. Brandvold, Perkins, Houseman, Pooler, and Patinko all stay out here. But that was a large majority of the field that time by. I think we'll see some more pit here. This is from Evan Patinko's on board, as I think Pooler's trying to pit. Yeah, Pooler's pitting. All these guys are pitting here in the top 5. So Brandvold, Perkins, Houseman, and so many more. Oh, watch out! Wow, another lucky break there for Evan Patinko and for Carl Pooler, but that is painful for Mason Houseman. He's going to lose a lot of time. Let's see what happened there. Watching the pit entry back for Mason Houseman. Starts chattering the rear tires there on entry and just runs to the back of Brandvold. He was just a lot more aggressive on pit entry, ran in the back of his own driver in Zach Brandvold. I think Zach was just playing it a lot more cautious into the pits. Watch and listen here. Listen especially for the rears to chatter. There. Bunch of wheel hop. And that's why he closed in so much on Brandvold, because the wheel hop. He had to get off the brakes to calm the rear end down. You don't get that in the next gen car with independent rear suspension. You get that a lot here in the ARCA car with a solid rear axle, as the field starts to come back together after pit stops. Very much spread out. Look at this. Borbo, Buzzio, Wolsifer, some of the OGs here. 1, 2, 3. Parent in 4th. Caden Perkins is 5th.
Caden Perkins, unsafe pit exit.
Oh my goodness, here he comes, right back in. I also noticed
the apron.
Gavin Rogers also speeding, it looks like, on entry. He is a lap down after serving a 54-second pit stop. That's 40 seconds longer than a traditional 4-tire stop. That tells me he was speeding on entry.
The champions are making mistakes, and this opened the door for anybody to win this race, including that 22 car.
And Scott Fritz, he waited as long as anybody to pit there. In fact, he pitted the last time around with Pooler, Patinko, Houseman, and more. Fritz is down in 14th, while Buzzio is 2nd. If we don't get a caution, it's too early. We still have a pit cycle to go, but it looks really good to be Adam Buzzio at the very least. As Parent comes off the wall, oh my goodness, that was close. That was Parent and Wolsifer getting really close there off of turn number 2. Josh Parent calms it back down. He has been married to that inside line tonight. While Buzzio and Wolsifer and others work the outside wall, Parent has stayed pretty religious down low.
So Andrew, looking over the last 3 times we've been to Auto Club, obviously we were in the next gen car, but the average last caution, the last caution in the last 3 races actually was 107, 112, and then 109. We've never had overtime here. So look in that window of lap, I'd say 109, 110 is when we might see our final caution, if we get that caution. So it could all vary out tonight, and it could come down to that final pit stop of who's going to get tires there at the end. Who has a set of tires laying?
I would really like to see the full trend there of like the cautions leading up to that final caution as well, because I would be willing to bet that there are a lot more cautions leading up to that final yellow to even have that final yellow be so late, as Perkins is now 2 laps down, comes back off the pit lane, and rejoins the field here. He was top 5. He's now 2 laps down. He's coming back in. He's been having a lot of problems pitting, apparently. He is back in for more service, if not a penalty. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's another penalty for Ken Perkins.
Back to my point. I do wonder what the cautions leading up to that final caution looked like as Parrott and Wolfsburg door bang off the corner. They keep it straight. Oh my goodness. This is the racing for third. Calm it down here a little bit, gentlemen. You've got to go 40 more laps before we can have any of that going on.
So back onto your point, Andrew, I hope you get a chance here. In Season 1 and Season 4, we had our shortest amount of cautions. The caution before that lap 107 caution in Season 1 was lap 71. The one before 109, which was Season 4, which was last season, was lap 73. The only outlier, Season 2, we had a caution on lap 96, 100, 107, and then 112.
I think I recall that race. That was an electric race. I believe Josh Parent even ran that race. I think that was his actual, maybe his debut, potentially, here in the BRB Sundance Pro Series, as Adam Buzzio has just taken over the race lead, passing up his teammate Steven Bordall. I think Steven gave it to him, and I think he gave it to him because Steven's starting to realize the fuel situation and that he is going to have to save. As Wolsifer and Parent bear down. Oh, watch out. 3 wide here, trying to pass for second.
You know what?
Watch
it's
out!
the older tire for Steven. Oh no!
Wow.
Tight racing. Joshua Parent taking no prisoners tonight. He is all over it. He is pushing hard. He wants that for his career win tonight.
Gotta be careful, though. Don't want to make too much contact. He's now made contact door to door with the car ahead and the car behind. Gotta be really, really careful of that stuff. Behind these guys, it's Kyle Clank and Zach Hall. How about Zach Hall? He's been running south of 20th most of the night, but he is now up here after starting 26th. He's now in the top 10. Carl Pooler just behind him. Jordan White, Evan Patinko in the top 10. He's here in this group. And then it's 3 seconds back to Mason Houseman in 10th. Cameron Carden's 11th.
What a day it is for the Whiplash boys.
Might be able to finally make up some team points.
3rd, 9th, and 11th.
Close here between these two for second still. Wolsifer, Parent, you can see they're leaning on each other. A long ways to go here, boys. Keep it calm.
I think Parent just needs to back out, try to get to the top of the 56, and he'll rocket by him. Josh has had so much speed tonight. I feel like he's just wasting it all on the bottom, not having help or drafting help.
There you see these guys now lapping Brendan Maddox. You know, unbelievably, despite that incident we saw for Brendan, he has not lost a lap until now. He stayed on the lead lap even when that incident happened. But he does finally succumb to these leaders and go 1 lap down. He's in front of these guys now, though. Oh, my goodness.
Oh! Parents who need him at the pick! 3 wide!
That was just an impossible spot for Maddox to be in. The leaders, of course, they've got to keep going. Oh, contact again. Saw that coming from a mile away. Parent on the outside now. Wolsifer down low, and Parent's going to clear.
Joshua Parent up to second, clear the 56. Looking down that 5 car now.
So a lot of racing to go. But Parent is looking better and better.
Andrew,
Meanwhile,
get this.
Go ahead.
Adam, currently sitting, I just had it, on an 18 race winless streak. Second place has never won. Third place is sitting on a 22 race winless streak. Are we going to see a snap tonight?
We saw one last week for Borbell. It had been, what, 17 races since he had last won in this series? Got one for himself at Pocono a week ago.
I think it was actually 18 last week. I believe it was 18, so Steven and Adam, so similar in everything, and how cool and how like a conspiracy would it be that Steven breaks his at 18, Adam breaks his at 18. That would be phenomenal.
These guys still trying to lap the 23 of Brennan Maddox, but I was showing you the battle there for a second between Hall and Clank. Clank falls in behind Zach Hall. Hall is in the top 5 all of a sudden, and within a second of the leaders. So as these two get going now for the top spot, Buzzio and Parent, Zach Hall is closing in. All he needed was a long green run. He goes on Borbo. This for 4th. The 32 is very much alive. In the wall, 3 in a row. Wolsifer, Borbo, and Rogers just tore that concrete down.
Oh no, in that straight concrete, that's not a safer barrier. That, oh.
There goes Hall. Big dive, holds it down low, sliding up now in front of the 2. We'll call that a slide job. That's for 4th. See Borbell lift and get some space. That stacks up Rogers. Remember, Rogers is a lap down.
I think those tires are starting to affect Borbell. Remember, he pitted, I feel like 5 or 7 laps before everybody else, so he's got 5 or 7 more laps of wear on his tires, and that might be coming back to affect him. You saw how big of a gap he had when everybody came out of the pits. He had almost a second and a half clear, but now it's starting to affect him.
Yeah, it's 7 to 8 laps of a deficit for Steven Borbell. He's got a lot more laps on those tires, and it's clearly starting to affect the number 2. As he hangs on for dear life, I'm sure he's also trying to save some fuel here to go the distance. He's got to get to at least, I'd say, lap 96 or 7 to be comfortable, as you see Jordan White poke his nose into the conversation.
See, I think you gotta get to 98.
Yeah,
I really think
ideally,
to 98.
Ideally 98 or
Jordan
99.
White 3 wide to the bottom. Clipped Carl Fuller. Not going to be able to get there, but to the bottom of the track goes the 83. The Jourdain train. Jourdain up to 5th.
The Jamaican sensation making us feel something here tonight. Up to 5th spot. Meanwhile, Zach Hall working on the 56 of Richard Wolsifer. A lot going on inside this top 10. A lot of different guys in some different positions right now that we're not used to seeing them in. It's going to be an exciting final 30 or so laps here at Auto Club Speedway from here.
Only 4 guys in the top 10 have had a win in the BRB Racing League. All of them on long droughts of wins. But who's going to be able to get it done in these final 32 laps?
And let's focus in for a second on the bracket brawl. It's not much of a battle right now at all. Adam Buzzio is leading, obviously, as we can see. He's got the top spot. And it's a long ways back, 20 seconds back to the 48 of Scott Fritz, who has just fallen down to 21st position. He is down behind Johnny Wood Jr. now, and Scott, I mean, this is not at all what he wants or needs. He's got some damage. Of course, he was involved in an incident or two that kept going green. He's really, really loose. You can tell he's got some aero damage on that 48 car. Oh my gosh. Back up front. Parent back on the back bumper. Very, very close to the turn 3. Zach Hall now into 3rd. This 32 scares me. We haven't really seen him be able to go at it on a long green run like this at all yet. And he has gone from being south of 20th for the opening 60 laps to suddenly being here racing for the lead, I'd say. I mean, he's in the battle for the lead now. I'll say that. He's within a half second of Adam Buzzio as a few cars grab the wall there. Carl Pollard slows down. Clank goes down low. Patinko goes down low. But this top 3 has all the focus right now.
We saw how strong Zach Hall can be when we get green flag pit stops. We saw it at Charlotte, but now we're finally at a track where it's benefiting him that we're having these longer green flag runs. And don't be surprised if you see this 32 get out to a lead and he won't give it back. We saw how strong he was racing with Gavin at Charlotte. We saw how big of a gap they had at Charlotte. So getting on pit road, that seems to be his strong suit. Jordan, as Richard Wilson hits the wall, and 3-4 cars go by him. Down low, Patinko going by him now.
Patinko makes that pass. Tries to clear the 56 car. Will do so. That'll be for 7th as Pooler moves up into 6th. And Borbell's coming in. This is not bad, actually. He did a pretty good job. I mean, this is 28 laps with no real opportunity to save under caution or anything. I think he's going to be okay. If we get a caution, he has to pit. But I think he's going to be all right.
I think if we get a caution, I think he's good. I think he's good even if we get a caution, because
well, I don't know if he's going to have enough for. I don't know if he's going to have enough for a full green-white checkered, but a caution before that would certainly help him. If we get a green-white checkered, that's where I'm concerned. But a caution just on its own, I think, would be okay. As here we go for the race lead. Buzzio and Parent side by side.
Joshua Parent knows what time it is. He knows it's go time. Inside of less than 30 laps to go. Joshua Parent looking for career win number 1.
Josh Parent gets the lead for a moment. Can he hold on to it? Clears Buzzio. He's got the spot. So Buzzio down to 2nd. I think Buzzio can relax right now. He's got a lot of space in the bracket. He can chill. Yes, he wants that win, but that bracket would be nice to bust as well, as Zach Hall closes up in 3rd. And boy, I wonder how this last run is going to go. I mean, we're seeing a bunch of different strengths come out over the course of this longer green flag run. Boy, anything truly could still happen in this race. Anybody, I'd say anybody on the lead lap right now is in contention to win as Cameron Carden hits the pit lane. He's a little bit early, but he kind of signified the beginning of that pit cycle before, and this is at 26 to go for Carden. I don't think this is a bad time for Carden to hit the pits. Let's see, does he take 2? Does he take 4?
Right sides go up.
The leaders go on by behind. There you see him on the top side of the racetrack. And they'll put him a lap down as he takes 4. Now, Cameron Carden has an event coming up that we're trying to get some BRB drivers into. The Carroll Kenneth Carden Memorial Race will be the 3rd time running. Late model stocks at Myrtle Beach Speedway on, I believe, January 10th. It'll be broadcast here on Pit Stop TV. You can message Cameron from the BRB Discord for a little more information. That race coming up very, very soon, right at the beginning of the new year. And that is to honor his late grandfather. It's a really cool race. We did it at Richmond back in year 1. That was 2024. Then Myrtle Beach earlier this year in 2025, and it'll be Myrtle Beach again for 2026. Again, late model stock cars. A big short track feel there as here we go. Jourdain White going for 3rd, maybe even 2nd. Carl Pooler in the top 5. Buzzio goes down low. Is he going to be pitting here?
Adam Buzzio just called it out. Adam is pitting. Kyle Clank said he's pitting.
It's a little high up there to be pitting. Let's see how this goes. Jourdain White, is he going to pit? Answer is yes.
583.
Oh, Jourdain! No!
Oh, man.
Big problems for Jourdain White.
Doesn't look like he got a penalty.
Let's see if these leaders pit before we take a replay. I think these guys will follow in. You kind of have to. If Buzzio pitted, I think these guys all need to pit as well. I think you have to cover that up. Yeah, I think Parent's pitting. Sure enough.
Josh Parent, pit road.
Paul keeps going. Wow, Pooler and Patinko keep going as well. Let's go back and let's see what happened there to Jourdain White coming into the pit lane a lap ago. The 83 has looked really, really good tonight, but this certainly a detour from that. On board with him. He throttled back up. That's always a little bit of a concern. Yeah, then he's late on the braking.
It looks like.
He just mismanaged it entirely. I mean, it's a mistake. He's still what we would call a rookie here, even though he's got, decent time, sim racing. Granted, it was mostly Roblox, to my understanding. As here we go, we have more cars pitting, Zach Hall and Evan Patinko. So while it's definitely apples to dragon fruit, I'd say, not even oranges, Roblox to iRacing, I mean, he's got experience. It's just a matter of fine-tuning that experience, especially when it comes to iRacing specifically and making these green flag pit stops. We also haven't seen many green flag pit stops this season, so I think Jourdain's still getting some experience at that. Here's Carl Pooler, as Dakota Bly will briefly take over second place. Carl Pooler trying to get himself a lap lead this evening. Driver, I believe, out of Alamosa, Colorado. We don't see too many West Coasters, and he's not technically a West Coaster, but a mountain time zone driver. Wow, that was an active pit entry. Scott Fritz finally into the pit lane. Dakota Bly comes in. Jason Bottoms comes in. Zach Hall out of the pit lane. He's out ahead of everybody. He took 2. Patinko took 2. Patinko back up in front of Buzzio. Buzzio took 4. Where is Josh Parent? He's right behind these guys. Horbell's back in this. Clank is here. Patinko real close off the corner, but Hall is ahead of them all.
I don't know if those two cars are going to be able to hold up for the next 20 laps.
I don't know. We've seen this happen a lot. Go back to Las Vegas, end of the season. Season number 4. That's the big one I can think back to. We have seen this in these green flag endings. This happens a lot. The 2-tire call that just surprises everyone. I think Zach Hall has made the winning call tonight if this goes green.
I have to disagree. We saw how much slower Steven Borbell was on just 7 laps of 4 tires. So, I mean, and Borbell came out a second ahead of everybody when that pit cycle was basically complete, and then he fell back. So it's going to come down to how fast Adam, Plank, and Patinko can catch up to Zach Hall. Gonna need about a tenth and a half a lap to get there.
Hall does have draft from Scott Fritz, of all people. That might keep the 5 from getting there until right at the end of this race. I think they can run him down. Maybe, but they're going to have to be on it. And Zach has looked really, really good. If he keeps up the pace he's had, I don't know, as Parent gets the outside of Clank here. And yeah, Fritz goes that lap down, so Hall now does not have draft ahead.
I'd love to see the lap times if we could pull that up.
Absolutely, we can. Give me just a moment. I'll tell you what, Zach. We'll do a combo here as these guys get racing for second. Let's get our Driver of the Day nominations. We're inside of 20 to go. Let's get those out of the way, then we'll hit the lap time. So who you got?
Give me Josh Parent all the way, through and through. He has been phenomenal today. He's been up front all day. He's avoided the trouble. He's been phenomenal.
There's one pick. Can't argue. I think Josh Parent certainly deserves a nod. I'm going to have to put Adam Buzzio on my list. First one down. I think Adam has to be there. He's been up front a lot tonight. It's hard to put him over Borbell and Hall, but Adam, with the pressure of the bracket and everything, yeah, give me Adam Buzzio right now.
I don't know where he just went. I just saw his name. Cameron Carden. Yeah, Cameron Carden in 12th. A phenomenal day. He's missed a couple of weeks, the last couple of weeks, but coming back with the 12th place finish, he's kept that car clean, kept that car out of trouble. Running 12th, Whiplash through and through has been phenomenal tonight.
There you see the 25 of Cameron Carden. We'll grab him and put him on the list, and I'm going to have to go. I know Borbell was fantastic in stage 1. Just kind of missed the mark with that caution that came out a little while ago when he stayed out. Give me Zach Hall. I have to. The fact that he was back south of 20th most of this race until very recently. Now that we're into the final 15 here in just a moment, he's got the race lead. He's not looking back. He's actually gaining time. And let's segue into the last few lap times here. There you go. For the whole top 4, Hall, Buzzio, Parent, Clank, that's how it looks. As the new laps come in, Hall at a 40.040. That's faster than all three behind.
Oh my goodness.
So the North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote has just gone live. Make sure to get your votes in. Adam Buzzio, one of your options tonight. Josh Parent's another in the 22. How about his teammate Cameron Carden in that 25? And how about Zach Hall currently leading this race in the 32? Those are your four options for the North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote here at Auto Club Speedway. And Patinko would have been a great option there as well. Look at him, top 5, going for it here on Kyle Clank. Patinko following the footsteps of his teammate Josh Parent. A little bit of contact there. That's okay.
Remember, Patinko on those 2 tires to everybody else's 4. He's still hanging on.
Yeah, so if he can hang with these guys, I think Hall can definitely hold his own. And it's happened multiple times. I think back to, again, Las Vegas in Season 4. Parent had a great chance to try and win. He was racing Dustin Stallings. Dustin, I believe, took 2. It's not the first time we've seen this.
And how heartbreaking is that going to be for Josh Parent? On the doorstep, knocking on the door of winning in the BRB Pro Series.
Also for Buzzio. It would have been his first win since the birth of his daughter.
I just can't believe 2 tires is going to last. I just can't believe it.
We've seen it before, and I dare say we'll see it again. It has definitely bamboozled many drivers the last couple of seasons. It bamboozled some more here tonight. Patinko was on it with a 2-tire call. Wolsifer was on it as well, as Wolsifer is now 5th, passing Patinko. And really, it was
Zach
just those
Hall,
3.
Josh Parent, Kyle Clank, the same exact lap time.
That's incredible.
Adam was the faster in the group, about half a tenth. But he's going to need upwards of almost 2 tenths now a lap.
I'm just saying, Zach, how crazy would it be to get a caution?
We're past the trend window. I mean, this would be the latest caution in BRB history at Auto Club Speedway if we had one now. So just put that into effect because we have never had overtime. So what is that going to be like if we have a strategy call with that? We know Adam doesn't have a set of right side tires laying in the pit. He has a set of left, but does not have a set of right. I don't know. This is going to get crazy down to the wire.
I think everybody has kind of got what they've got at this point. I highly doubt anybody's got tires laying any right sides anyways. Patinko nails the wall. Great catch by Evan to keep it together, but that was a really big hit for him. And you can see the right side has just got a little bit of damage, a little bit bent up. You can just briefly see it for a second there. See if we can show it off. Honestly, it's hardly bent, if at all. These cars are crazy. They could just take that hit and keep going. But Zach Hall, we just took 10 laps to go. We're coming to 9. And he has got 2 seconds still back to Adam Buzzio. And let's punch this story home. We wanted to talk to him in pre-race because he started the season 4 races behind everybody else. Let's talk about this. Let's go back to the schedule. I haven't even looked at this yet tonight. He started his season at Charlotte. He just showed up out of the blue. He was added along with William Maple Jr. and Rusty Rafferty. They all were added at Charlotte. They missed Daytona through Long Beach. So for Zach Hall to be in this situation, Zach, this is going to poke some holes in a lot of guys' seasons because if you look over the points, he comes into tonight just 51 out. In the hunt, at a win, I would say he's going to be close, maybe even past Christian Barnes, and certainly be a lot closer to guys like Evan Patinko, Jordan White, Robert Moyer, at least closer, right? Not going to pass those guys, but he'll be closer.
Well, remember, Coulter Clark's been so off pace today. He's down, I believe, in like the 20, what is the 23rd position, 22nd position? I mean, no, I don't even know where he's at, but I know he's been off the pace tonight. Christian Barnes had the issue earlier. I mean, Dakota Blythe's running 16th. I mean, the points give out is so crazy in this league, and he had really good stage points as well, so it could really come down to Atlanta, and we could be seeing maybe a 3-way, 4-way fight for that final spot in the playoff.
Glad to see Kayla tuning in here at the back end of this one. Reminding us that it's Leviosa, not Leviosa. Going back to comments. If you're watching the YouTube comments, you know what I'm talking about. But we have got, coming up on 6 laps to go. Let's face value this for a second, Zach. Let's also bring up the lap times again. And last couple of laps, I mean, it's just not enough. 6 laps when we come back around, it is just not enough for these guys. They need a caution. Realistically, they need a caution.
I don't know.
And
It'd
you
be
know
interesting
what?
to see what the lap times are going to be after this lap, because obviously Zach Hall, you see him at almost in the 40:29s. If he can, it's, oh my goodness, 5 laps in 3. Adam and them need 3/10, but once again, the draft, it's going to be easy to pass them because we saw that with Steven. So if they can close this gap in 8/10 of a second, and they're closing this gap, they're closing the gap. They were down to 1.4 in the middle of the corner, and they're still down to 1.4. I think they're starting to work together now. It's going to be very interesting to see what this happens. And look at this, it's Adam Buzzio, Josh Parent, Kyle Clank.
They gained. Clank not so much, but Buzzio and Parrott certainly gained. This
10.5 right there.
This might be a buzzer beater of a situation for these guys.
They cannot fight until they are there, until they are in the draft. They cannot fight. They have to stick together if they want a chance to win this race. Gap now 1.3 down the back straightaway coming into turn 3. At the line, it's going to be 4 laps to go. Buzzio inside of 1.2 now. He's starting to close that gap. The tires are starting to fade for Zach Hall. Out of 4.
Zach Maddox raises a great point, though, in YouTube chat. Even if we get a caution and they restart side by side, the leader has a great advantage. Now, with the draft, I think we could certainly see a pass down in 3, but that's all hypothetical as Adam Buzzio breaks down inside of a second. That last lap, about 2.5 tenths gained. This is going to be really close. Remember, as soon as Adam starts sniffing that draft on the straightaway, he's going to gain a whole lot faster.
They're going to suck up as soon as they get up there. Coming down to 3 to go at the line. If he gets down, I think it's the gap is 0.7 is where you start to get the draft effect, and then it really throws you up there. And we've seen people catch before with 0.7.
See them going down.
There. I don't know why he went. I don't know. I think you got to just follow him at this point and not try to cut the track or anything. Down inside of a second now.
Dirty air for Zach Hall. He's behind a lapped car. That's going to hurt him at this point.
But it's going to help with the straightaways.
He needs clean air. Because Adam's now within a second. He needs clean air. Zach Hall does. He does not want traffic ahead.
The lap times last time. 2/10 plus for Adam gain there. It's got to happen now. He's got to get inside at 5/10 here. And he's off. I thought it said 0.6 for a second, but now it's back to 0.8. Oh, they're snaking down the front straightaway.
If Adam can get there, it's going to be turn 3, final lap. Oh, blink! Zach Hall blinks! He's back down underneath Johnny Wood. A little bit of traffic here holding him up. Adam Buzzio really needs him to check up this time down, and this is going to hurt him. The lower entry into the corner is going to hurt him a little bit. There we go, watching from the fan cam. White flag coming. What's going to happen here? One more time around. The TZO Designs 250. White flag is out. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams.
Oh, it's going to be one of them great Auto Club finishes here in BRB. Does Josh Parent get selfish and just try to go for second, or does he try to push Adam up there? They're going to have one final chance on this back straightaway to get there.
Be really, really close. Here we go, down the back stretch. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen now. Adam Buzzio just not close enough. Doesn't have a run. Maybe to the stripe.
Shoved him down the back straightaway. Adam to the top side. Is Parent going to push him? Parent Fritz gonna go for the second place. It's gonna give the win to Zach Hall, side by side for second.
To the flag, Zach Hall's gonna win at California, battle for second, and Adam Buzzio is going to win the bracket brawl. He easily knocks down Scott Fritz, but Zach Hall is now a winner in the BRB Sundance Pro Series. Parent second, Buzzio third. And the practice race curse continues as we name a new first-time winner in the BRB Sundance Pro Series. What a night here at Auto Club is. Oh, I don't think that was intentional. Some extracurricular here. I don't think that was intentional, but there we go.
One more lap, it was over. One more lap, they were there.
The gap was down inside a half second across the stripe.
Man.
There you go, Zach Hall. Also, I believe is going to notch the very first ever win for Freaky Fast Motorsports. Hall burns it down. I knew I was onto something, Zach. When I wanted to talk to him pre-race, I knew I was onto something. We couldn't dial him up. He was just a little bit late getting home. But made it in and showed out tonight. That's incredible. There's some celebration as well for Adam Buzzio as he wins the bracket. The very first ever actual bracket-style competition here in the BRB Sundance Pro Series. And Adam knocks him down. I can't recall, but I feel like he's won the bonus challenge before.
Oh, give me 1 second.
Yeah, that'd be a really cool stat to bring up as Zach Hall parks it in victory lane here.
Yes, he won it the first iteration that we had the bonus brawl. So we went the first iteration of the bonus brawl, and then went the first iteration of the bracket brawl. Wow, that's a stat.
Adam Buzzio. A long shot. What seed was he this season?
I think he was, I want to say the 15th. Give me 1 second. I can pull that up really fast. Adam came in as the 15th seed.
That's incredible. Seed number 15 will go on to win the bracket here in season number 5. So it might not be that race win, but I know he's going to be happy. Let's go back and see that finish to the line and just how close things got. Bear with me for just a second through all the celebration and everything. Trying to dial up the right moment as we just passed this. Let's watch this back. This is coming to the white flag. So Buzzio here, I don't know that he did anything wrong. He follows Hall down the racetrack. Parent goes with. They just needed this to be 126 laps. Honestly, that might have hurt. I think that hurt Adam right there. Following through 1 and 2, I think hurt him. That's going to slow him down on exit. If he had run the top side like he had been doing, I think that would have helped him a bunch. I don't know if he would have got there.
I think the race was lost on lap 123 when Johnny Wood gave the draft to Zach Hall. I really think that's when the race was over.
I mean, I don't want to discredit the pit call from Zach Hall to go for 2 tires. That's what put him in that position. As this is the battle to the line for Adam Buzzio and Josh Parent. Look at that. If only that had been for the win. Let's watch that back one more time. Watch this. Hang on. This camera right here. Slow it down. Watch how close they are across the stripe. Barely getting the 22 into second place, just ahead of the 5 right there. That's incredible. So we've got a bunch of drivers, of course, to talk to after the end of this one, but let's go through our unofficial race results here this evening at Auto Club Speedway. Going to be an interesting one as Zach Hall will get his very first ever, that's the wrong graphic, very first ever win. Here we go. Zach Hall wins this evening in car 32. Only led 21 laps. Started 26th. I wonder if that's the most positions gained to win this season. It just might be, as Hall will take the victory here in the TZO Designs 250. It'll be Josh Parent in second place. He improves on a third last week at Pocono. Adam Buzzio will go third here tonight and win the BRB Bracket Brawl. Kyle Clank with the top 5. Steven Borbell follows up a win with a 5th place. It'll be Evan Batinko with a top 10. Carl Pooler 7th. Mason Houseman, Richard Wolsifer, and Robert Moyer all finished top 10 tonight.
Yeah, what a day it was for over there at Freaky Fast Racing. But in 11th was Meatball Motorsports driver Jordan White. Behind him, Sam Dyer. Then behind them is 13th was Brandwold. 14th, William Maple Jr. 15th, Cameron Carden. 16th, Dakota Bly. Anthony Teseo, Coulter Clark, Cole Lewis, Dan Stoccaro. That's your top 20. And a lot of hard breaks in there. Hard breaks. I'm not going to say it.
Well, regardless, on back down to 21st spot. How about Johnny Wood Jr. 1 lap down with Gavin Rogers, Scott Fritz, Jason Bottoms, and Brennan Maddox all hanging on there 1 lap down. The storylines kind of write themselves here. Points leader, 23rd. 3 of the top 5 in power rankings and in points, I believe, in this page, 21st, 25th. That is awful for those guys. It's going to hurt them big time as we go into the holiday season. Of course, off a couple of weeks, we come back in 2026 with Las Vegas. It's another one of these bigger tracks, intermediate, same kind of style of racing. You just got to go back out and slug it out in a couple of weeks' time. Gray Walker, 26th. I know he's not happy with that, neither is Caden Perkins. Those pit penalties really ate those guys up. Tim Henderson out early, 28th spot ahead of Zach Maddox and Christian Barnes. Didn't have many cautions here tonight. I want to highlight that stat. 2 cautions in 125 laps. One of those was the stage. One of those was for cause. I think we could have had a couple more, but we didn't. We didn't. And it is what it is. I mean, crashing down to the apron, iRacing cautions is what it is. It's unfortunate for the drivers that got bit by it, but that's the way she goes. Unfortunately, the way the cookie crumbles. Regardless, Zach Hall wins here at California. Let's bring in driver number 32. I'm sure he's going to be happy. We wanted to talk to you pre-race, but that didn't quite line up. I guess it was for good reason, though. I just had a feeling. Car 32 felt like maybe today was the day, and here we are. You've got yourself a win in the BRB Sundance Pro Series. What was the planning like going into that pit call for 2 tires?
You know, I made the decision when we had the last caution. I was like, because I was just trying to play some strategy tonight. The racing is just very interesting with the super speedway that I hate getting up in that mix early in the race, and I just don't want to get taken out. So I was trying my best to stay out of the mix and take my time and kind of use some strategy. And then I knew if we went long there that 2 would be a little quicker on the stop. I was hoping it'd be a little bit faster, but I had to take a little extra fuel just for safety reasons. I probably could have took a little bit less and been another second or 2 farther out there with the pit stop, but I was like, man, don't risk running out. There's no reason to throw it away a top 5 finish. So I was like, screw it, let's put 2 on. And actually for 10 laps, I knew it was going to make it better at taking off just with the better right side tires. But it definitely there at the end started to really fade away. For the first time all night, I felt like, man, I'm starting to struggle on the long run. So I was really counting the laps there at the end.
It got really, really close. If this was a 126 lap race, do you think you could have held them off?
You know, I think I would have had a good opportunity. I think the biggest thing is what would the third car have done? You know, Joshua Parent there was right there. So, like, if Adam goes low, does he push him? Does he push me high? Because I'm most likely, in my opinion, going to try my best to defend the outside just because if you can lay on that door, you can really pull someone back here. But it would have been tough. I was really hoping to not like come off the corner of 2 on that second to last lap beside Johnny Wood. That really kind of hurt me because I knew that was going to kill the momentum down the back straightaway. And then I saw he kind of just jump right out of the way for them. So I was like, all right, 0.6 of a second. If I just hit my marks, I should be good. And luckily it all played out that way. I think if another lap though, yeah, they would have been definitely side by side with me, but for sure, because the draft is just so strong.
And of course, this is going to bring you, I'd say, into contention for sure now for the chase. We don't have any races to go, though. You were 51 back coming into tonight. I know you were always a long shot, having 4 races of a deficit. You've got to make all the races, to my understanding, to the end of this regular season in order to be eligible. Can you do it?
I think so, man. If I can keep up the consistency I've had, I got in a little bit of trouble there at Chicagoland. That one really, I think, set me back a good bit from the gains I was having each and every week. But this past week at Pocono was pretty decent, getting the stage win, of course, and then getting the win here tonight is a huge bonus too. And I think the rest of the tracks too, other than Atlanta, of course, with just being a super speedway track, the other mile and a halfs you can kind of separate yourself just a little bit more and maybe not get as caught in traffic. So I'm thinking those races should play out maybe a little bit better for me, and I'm hoping like I was before, the other 2 mile and a halfs be in contention to win. So if I'm doing that and at the sharp end of the field with consistency, I have a shot at it. So I mean, we'll see what it does, but man, it's I'm hoping that I can make it. I mean, you never know with these things. It's racing, so we'll see how it plays out these next 4 races. So we'll see.
It'll definitely be a tight race to run into the chase here. 4 races to go. Las Vegas, Kentucky, Darlington, Atlanta. Best of luck to you, Zach. We'll be watching Car 32 the rest of this regular season.
Thank you very much.
On down to position number 2, Zach. It's going to be Josh Parent. I believe this is a new career best for Josh in any of these BRB Sundance Pro Series races. I believe a new career best finish. He's got to be happy.
Josh Parent, you started second tonight. You finished second, led 12 laps. Take me through what happened there in the final couple laps.
I was trying to shove Adam for everything that I had to get to the lead, man, so we could try to catch that call. The 2 tires just panned out just well enough. Me and Adam talked about it. We definitely both just took pit road a little too easy on that final stop. And then once Zach Hall got Johnny's draft, in the end, we kind of figured that might have been it. We just never formed up to draft early enough to get up to Zach Hall. He had just enough time with those 2 tires for that to matter. So it is what it is. It was a phenomenal race. The racing up front is the best racing I've had in this league by far. It was some of the cleanest racing that I've had. There's a little, some hitting here and there, but it was anything crazy. No one's, taking each other out. And outside of maybe the first 5 laps, I wasn't seeing people get sent into the corner. Like people were checking up. That was something new. That was a ton of progress for tonight.
Obviously, heading into the 2-week Christmas break, what is the outlook on the season now? I mean, got to be gaining a lot of points. You got to be up there in the play, looking for a playoff spot now. Or I don't believe you were in, but what is your steps now going forward?
I believe actually into this race I was 9th in points, and I got, I think, 2nd in the stage, or wherever I got in the stage tonight.
There it is.
And then 2nd in the race. And it just, that I think before Pocono in my interview, I said points. That's what I got to get if I'm going to do something. And yeah, dude, I've been getting qualifying back down. I, for whatever reason, just kept crashing myself or doing something really stupid to cost myself good spots or good pit stops or something. And that was the main focus tonight, was the pit stops. After Pocono's blunder, getting lucky there, I wanted to make sure that everything I did tonight was on my speed and talent. And I think that showed. I think for me, I obviously feel like I had the best car, but, I think a 2nd place shows that I was up there.
Again, a phenomenal race you had. You were my pick to win when we got to that final run. You did phenomenal tonight. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats on 2nd.
Appreciate it. Oh, real quick, I'm sorry. I got to shout out my girlfriend. It's her 20th birthday. Thank you.
Solid night on her birthday. Josh, thanks for your time. Congratulations on P2.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
And that is your 2nd place driver this evening. That brings us now to not quite, I want him to hear this, not quite the race winner, unfortunately, Adam, but the bracket winner. How about, let's turn that frown upside down. 3rd place on the racetrack, but 1st in the bracket. You knock out Scott Fritz for a long time. It looked like you guys were going to be on top of one another all night long. Something happened. I'm not really sure what started the snowball effect for Scott, but how relieved were you to see him kind of drop off the radar?
I gotta be honest. First of all, I'm not frowning at all. That was so much fun. That drive to the end, trying to catch up with Zach was a blast. Racing with Parent was a blast. I actually didn't know something happened to Scott until I went by him and he was already a lap down. Somebody in the team chat, I think it might have been Gavin, had mentioned that he got into the wall earlier in the race, but I didn't realize he was hurt. So I was just focused on staying ahead of him, and I knew he wasn't on my relative, so I knew I was doing something right. So yeah, I didn't really know the extent of his problems until closer to the end of the race there, to be honest. But big shout out to him, man. I mean, he's been class of the field, you know, the whole season so far. I did not have a lot of optimism from the very beginning of the bracket. I think I broke all of them when I beat Dustin in round 2, and to win the whole thing is super cool. So really, really happy overall with the race.
Yeah, I mean, for Dustin to be your first matchup there had to be a little bit harrowing, but you've gone all the way through. We checked some stats. You won the very first BRB bonus, not bracket, but bonus, what was it called? Bonus Brawl, I think, right?
Bonus Brawl back then, yeah.
Yeah, so you won the very first bonus brawl. You now win the very first bonus bracket brawl. I don't know how many more B words we can add to that, but it seems like, switch up the format a little bit, it's the 5 card, winning this kind of in-season challenge. That said,
yeah, I don't know what to make of it, man. I guess we thrive under pressure. The pressure was on tonight to have a good race. We messed up qualifying. I was really, really disappointed with that. But I knew we would be fast. I knew we would have pace in the race, so I wasn't sweating it too bad. I just needed to not, get taken out or have trouble, and we managed to do that. So super excited, happy overall about the race for sure.
And that said, you will remain the top driver in the standings now for at least a second race coming up when we come back in 2026. Top driver without a win. How do we change that at Las Vegas or Kentucky or Darlington when we open things back up in January?
Man, I feel like we have the pace. I've made mistakes this season, which is uncharacteristic for me on pit road. I've made a lot of pit road mistakes this season. We got to clean that up. I made another mistake tonight. I accidentally took right side tires on that kind of middle caution that had come out pretty quick there, and I thought that was going to be really problematic, especially if we got yellows. But I got lucky tonight. But we got to clean up pit road. I think if we could clean up pit road and just have a little bit of luck, you know what I mean? I think we can get this 5 car into victory lane. Zach, shout out to him, man. That was the 2 tire call. I went back and forth with it. I didn't think it would save as much time as it did. So that ended up being the difference maker for sure. But shout out to him for the first win. That's cool.
I'm gonna let you know we're doing a runoff vote. That's what we're doing for driver of the day. You and Cameron Carden were tied, and we're gonna try something here. We're gonna do a runoff vote. So for you, for everybody watching, you want to get somebody to vote, send them the link now. Get them in. The vote is going live right now. A runoff vote between Adam Buzzio and Cameron Carden. Regardless, Adam, you're the driver of the day in my heart. Congratulations, you win the bracket brawl, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you a lot in the new year.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Real quick, I haven't got to do an interview in a minute, so I just want to do some shout outs. First of all, big shout out to you guys for the coverage and everything you guys do for the league. We're super grateful and very lucky to have you guys as partners. Big shout out to Sundance Pizza and all of our other sponsors as well for helping us keep this thing going. And a special shout out to my wife Julie and my daughter Autumn. So thank you guys so much.
Still looking for that first win since Autumn was born a couple months ago. Hey, congratulations. Hopefully it's coming soon.
Thanks, brother. Adam
Buzzio with a big night here at Auto Club Speedway, and this is something new. Usually when we have a tie, we just kind of let it be, and we award it to a couple of drivers at once, but I want to see if we can narrow this down. I want to have this runoff vote for this driver of the day honor, so let's go through a little more of our post-race stuff here, Zach, and all of you watching, you can get your vote in now. Driver of the day runoff vote between Adam Buzzio and Cameron Carden, and hopefully we can settle this between these 2 drivers. But coming up, we are going to have a little bit of time off coming up soon. We have a couple of cool broadcasts coming up first. So the final 2 broadcasts scheduled for us currently in 2025, Zach King. We have the Thomas 250 tomorrow, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But we also have the Impel Motorsports National Tour at Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway this week. That's Thursday. We've got super late models on track at Kern, so keeping the Southern California vibes flowing, and then we stay on the West Coast. We open 2026 up at Las Vegas Motor Speedway when BRB comes back after the break. A lot of cool races coming up, a lot of great places to watch.
You can follow it all on pitstoptv.com, at Facebook at pitstop.com, at facebook.com/pitstoptv/ at Instagram on pitstop_stop_TV, on TikTok at pitstop_TV1, and Twitch at pit_stop_TV, on YouTube at pitstoptv1, and on X, normally known as Twitter, pitstoptv_.
And as far as tomorrow's broadcast goes, we're still ironing out the details. But tomorrow when we unload for 7:45 Eastern, we're going to have a very special presentation brought to you by Texas Speed and Sim Racing Nation. What's been explained to me so far is there is a kid, realistically a kid, to be blunt, who is in the hospital right now, not having a great time, needs treatment, and this is a kid of a member of the Texas Speed and Sim Racing Nation community. And they want to help this family out to help afford the treatment. I don't know the specifics. I'm sure we'll have more information tomorrow. Please tune in. At least give the view, help foster a really cool atmosphere tomorrow night in YouTube chat. I know there's still a bunch of you watching. Please come back tomorrow. It's the holiday season. We want to try and raise the money for this family. I'm a little bit teary right now. I've got a set of my own, and I can only imagine, right? Again, I don't know the specifics, but Thomas is in the hospital. The family needs some help with affording the treatment. We're raising money tomorrow, so I just happened to see this race being advertised over in a Discord that I'm in, and I jumped on it. We had to bring this to the masses and make a presentation out of it. We're doing that tomorrow night. Make sure to tune in about 7:45 Eastern. That time might float around a little bit. If you tune in at 8, you'll be right on time. So 8 Eastern, there about 7:45. If you want to be an early bird, get in here, get in the chat. Let's have a good time. The goal is to kind of surprise them. I don't think they even know yet. We want to surprise the family, get Ty as the father and Thomas as the son, get them into the chat and just give them a good time and try to raise some funds for Thomas's treatment. So please, if you're hearing my voice right now, please join us again tomorrow. It's going to be a good time. Mini stocks at Charlotte, I think 170 laps. It's going to be a crazy race. It's going to be a lot of fun. So one more time, please join us tomorrow right back here on Pit Stop TV. Until then, Zach, let's have a happier note here to wrap things up. Looking forward in this series, a lot of great races. Pick a favorite of these 4 coming up: Las Vegas, Kentucky, Darlington, Atlanta. Pick a favorite.
Oh, come on now. Is that even a question? Give me Atlanta all the way, through and through. That's my favorite through and through.
Well, we'll see.
Atlanta.
I think we'll see some great racing all the way. I think Las Vegas is going to be a little bit like we've been seeing, but Kentucky is going to be a little different. Darlington, I think, is going to be awesome. I don't think we've seen BRB at Darlington for a while, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then, of course, Atlanta to wrap up the regular season will be a bunch of fun. That does it for us here this evening. The driver of the day vote, though, we hit 30 votes. I'm going to hit the button. I'm sorry, Cameron Carden. It's going to be the guy who breaks the bracket for everybody out there. It's going to be Adam Buzzio winning the North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote. Cameron, P2, that's huge. Cameron Carden, definitely a big night for him. Had a better night going, kind of fell back on that late run, but I think Adam Buzzio definitely is very deserving, so this is still a good way to wrap that up. And a big props to Adam Buzzio. He kind of wins a couple of different things, even if he couldn't win the race here tonight. Still gets some great honors, and I think that's about it. I'm trying to rack my brain. We can of course, thank our partners, Sundance Pizza, Sundance Trucks, Ideal Lease, KC Athletics, RevSimShop.com, Performance Food Group, Whiplash SimCam, CC's Business, MXWraps.com, and our partners here at the channel, Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. Zach King for the final time here with BRB in 2025. Any final words here from California?
Come back for 2026 because it's going to be even more fireworks than we had this season.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll give you the scenes quickly from the Digger cam just for a moment, and we'll show off Digger one more time. I don't know if we're going to do anything more with this. This was a thing that just kind of spurred up today. We'll see. If you like it, let us know. But as we get ready to head off into the new year of 2026, thank you so much for joining us thus far in this new season of BRB Racing. I know I'm saying new, but we're halfway through now. So is it really that new? I don't know. Make sure to join us as we come back in 2026, yeah, very, very soon. Regardless, my mind is going, the year is almost over. Just make sure to come back here on Bit Stop TV. We'll see you all next time.